Oh, this is terrible. This is a terrible angle. What am I doing? Welcome, everybody, to the Monday night live stream. It's that time of the night where we gather around the holler goblin and we. Hello, hello.
Hey, Sarah.
What is up?
Oh, not much. Just here, hanging out, getting ready for the live.
Yeah, hopefully tonight is going to be a wild one. Heather Cooper, hello. Not falling asleep before the stories last night or tonight. Yeah, we had a good one last night. I thought I saw you for a minute, and then I was like, no, maybe I didn't. I saw Heather, but yeah, you should have been here last night. We had some good ones. Um, all right, guys, we're up to about 100 people so far. Everybody tap the screen, send some hearts. Let's get some people in here to tell some ghost stories. More hearts means more people, means more ghost stories. You guys know the drill. How is everybody? How you guys doing? Did everybody else have a Monday like I did? Anybody?
I was asleep most of the day, so I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah. I wish I had been, but Raven has arrived. Now the party can begin. I see
All
Harry.
right.
Hey Harry. Yeah, it's been a wild time this week today. It feels like it's been 2 weeks packed into one day. Um, I'm struggling. We're gonna see how it goes tonight because I don't even know. I don't know, guys.
Yeah. Heather, you slept the
Uneventful.
entire day also?
Raven set the alarm for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
It was a Monday,
see.
guys.
It certainly was. We're going to give everybody just a couple minutes. Everybody tap the screen, tap as much as you possibly can. Did you know if you tap the screen enough, like a little challenge bar comes up with a little heart, and if you tap it long enough, confetti blows all over your screen? It's actually pretty exciting for about zero point 0.1 seconds, but it's free.
Yeah, they did a real good job yesterday tapping the screen.
Yeah, should we talk about that? Do you want to talk about that at all?
All right, so yeah, I guess we'll go down that road really quick. I kind of told everybody yesterday that if they got to 80K, I would eat a worm live on the stream, and they got to 80K real fast. So yeah, I guess I kind of put myself in a predicament there, but I'm gonna do it, guys. I have ordered the worm. The worm is on the way. It is on the way to my house, and when it gets here, it's gonna go down.
Oh my god. I don't know if I even want to know what kind of worm it was, but you guys, if we get to 100,000 likes tonight, maybe he'll eat two. Can we get you to eat two
Well,
worms?
well, maybe I'll eat two worms, but Sarah's gonna do the hot chip, the one chip challenge this week.
Sarah will do no such thing. Absolutely not. This is all you. All you. All right, guys. If you're new here, we gather around the Holler Goblin and we talk about paranormal things, creepy things, strange things in general. We tell spooky stories. It can be about the paranormal, extraterrestrials, cryptid, unexplained, glitch in the matrix, or just something weird in general that creeped you out. We want to hear your spookiest spooky story. For some reason, that phrase gets harder and harder to say. I'm not entirely sure why. Also, we do have a subscription here on the channel. You see the little star somewhere on the screen. If you hit that, you will get instant access to the subscriber only Discord. We do all the fun things over there. So if you like the channel, you like what we do here, and you want to be part of the community, that is a great way to do it. Also, we ask that you be mindful of your language when you come up. We did have a little incident last night. So if you say something that TikTok says is inappropriate, we will unfortunately have to drop you. So I apologize in advance. I always feel bad about doing that. Let's see what else. Be sure to follow me if you haven't already. I uploaded a video today, by the way, and then I deleted it because it was so stupid. I was like, no, I don't like this video. It's gone. It didn't do very well. But I may post another one tomorrow, and I've got some really cool, creepy ones coming soon. So the guest box is open, and I see that we do have a couple of people in the guest box. You know that I'm always afraid when people request too soon because I always think they're trolls. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. Lexi, welcome.
Hello.
You got a spooky
Hello.
story?
Yes. How many can I share at a time?
Real quick, how old are you?
I'm 18.
Okay, when's your birthday?
May 31st, 2005.
Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, we usually just do one at a time. But usually a lot of people will hang out in the comments and come back later and share one at a time. Roughly, that's how we kind of do it.
hmm
So, so yeah, tell us a spooky story.
Okay, so this one happened to me. I would say maybe when I was around 11-ish. And this has to do with the whole subject of doppelganger stuff. But I remember my dad would work out of town a lot, and we had to pack up to go see him. And me and my mom were packing, and my siblings were coming too. And I remember going to the trunk of her car in the driveway to put in my bag, and I was like, "Hey, do I need to grab?" I forgot. It was some sort of do I need to grab some sort of makeup bag? And she didn't say anything. And she looked at me and she was like, "Yeah, go ahead and go grab it." And I was like, "Okay." And she said, "I'm gonna go grab something else." And I said, "Okay." And she walked around the car, and then a millisecond later, she walks right back around, but on the other end. And I was like, "Hey, I thought you were gonna go grab the," or maybe a millisecond was crazy, but 3 seconds later, she walks back around. I was like, "Hey, I thought you were gonna go grab the bag that you were talking, or some other bag that you were talking about." And she just was looking into the back of the car, and she wouldn't say anything. She wouldn't even look at me. And I was like, "Hello?" I was like, "Do you still want me to go get it?" And she didn't say anything, and she walked right back the same path around the car. And then a little bit later, she comes back around and she's like, "Hey, did you go in and grab that bag?" And I was like, "You came back out here and you didn't say anything to me." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "I was inside." And she had the bag in her hand. And I was like, "What?" And I thought maybe I was tripping or something. And she's like, "No, I was inside." And I was like, "You were just standing here." And I was like, "You wouldn't say anything to me." And she was like, "What are you, what are you on about?" And I was like, "Whatever." And I dropped it.
Wow, I actually had an experience just like that. Out of curiosity, were you able to see this entity's eyes by any chance?
I did not. She wouldn't look at me. I didn't even see her come back around. I just knew it was her. And I looked at her body, and her hair was kind of covering the side of her face because I was next to her, and I didn't really look at her face. I was just kind of packing bags in the back and organizing them. And I was like, "Hey, hello." And she was faced a certain way, and I couldn't see her. She was just looking to the back of the car, so I couldn't see her.
Yeah, yeah, that's a lot like what I experienced. Very strange. I still don't really know what the explanation for that is, but I had an encounter just about like that. So, really cool to hear somebody else have one as well.
Yeah, and they say that if you see somebody else's, that somebody in your close to you is going to pass or something, and if you see your own, then you're going to pass. Just not too long later, my mom's sister died of cancer, or of cancer.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh no, it's okay. It's been a long time, but I thought it was
Well,
kind of a
that
crazy coincidence.
yeah, absolutely. That just kind of gives me chills a little bit because it's so much like what I experienced. But we appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us.
All right, I'll drop down.
Thanks. Wow, that's the first time we've had somebody have. You guys know my doppelganger story. Wow, holy cow.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see what Adrian's got for us. Hello, welcome.
Oh, sorry. I mean, holy smokes. You know, that story really creeped me out. You know, gave me some
Yeah.
chills. Uh, I don't know if it's scary as my Sasquatch stories or my ghost stories or my alien stories, and you know, um, I do have a story that it's actually somebody else's story. It's my younger brother's story, and he had an encounter with something um, in the area. This area we used to go fishing when we were young on the reservation, and so took place on the San Juan River, and we were walking down there, and we didn't think nothing of it, and we got to the fishing spot and we're just fishing, and I'm over here catching these fishes, and you know, same time my mom, she, we're having kind of like a race, see who can, catch the most fish and stuff like that. And I was kind of winning. And my little brother's over here, he's very young at the time, and he uh he was, off to the side playing, I don't know, like his own I don't know what he was playing, but kids, they do play with sticks or mud or something like that. And anyhow, so he's over there, and he told me, he goes, "Did you guys see that?" And we're like, "What?" And I don't know if I did check on him. Yeah, I think I went to go check on him, and then he tells me, we are just talking, and then he told me, he said, "Did you guys see that?" And I was like, "Well, see what?" He goes, "There was a hand right there by that river, like kind of like further back from us, a ways, and there was all these bushes off to the side, and he said there was something reaching into that water, and it was his hands was black." He said, and we went to go check it out, and it was just kind of peeked over there. There was nothing over there, and I was just kind of like thinking, what's going on, my little bro over here? It's really strange. But anyhow, so yeah, that place is known for Sasquatch activity. So I think he seen a Sasquatch. Not to be sure.
So when you saw the hand, was it like coming out of the water, or like out of the bushes, or
I think yeah, it's like reaching into the water.
wow?
That was just strange. I mean, like I've never seen that in my whole life, and I've heard the Sasquatch. Sasquatch, Sasquatch, or what you call it, like a
Thank you,
warning.
Holly.
Yeah.
Were you able to see any details of the hand? Like, was there? I'm really interested in Bigfoot,
Oh,
so I have so many questions. I also saw
yeah.
Bigfoot once upon a time, but were you able to see any physical features?
Well, from what he told me, he's just seen a black, like kind of like a black arm, almost like a black hand, just dark. He just said it was dark, and I was like, that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, the squatch that I saw was about the same color as the forest he was coming out of. So just, perfectly matched the trees. And I guess from what I kind of gather across the board, that's pretty common. Wherever you see them, they'll kind of blend in with the natural flora and fauna and all that. So, well, that's really cool. We appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us.
Yeah. I also want to talk about an encounter we both shared, me and my little brother, and we shared we seen an alien UFO once, on top of Toyak Mountain here in the Four Corners area. It's called the Ute Reservation. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's sounds like a sleeping giant. You know, it's what they call it, and it kind of goes back into legend. You know, of how that giant got there, and yeah, so um, you know that night it was the 4th of July, and you know everybody's going outside to prepare to watch the fireworks, and we jump up on this big old tin thing, and we sit down, and the fireworks start going, and as it was going, and everybody's just like, oh, that's cool, just kind of like the whole vibe of watching fireworks and how it lights up the whole sky and how it lit up the whole area. And off to my left, we just kind of noticed these lights just forming on top of the mountain there by the head and the soldiers, like right in between. And that really caught my eyes. And I told my little brother, I said, hey man, did you see that? And he's like, yeah, I see that. And I was like looking at it, and the more I was looking at it, the more it seemed like it was coming closer to the ground in that area, like on top of the mountain. It was like coming down more, and I thought it was like gonna send a beam out or something, and these aliens are gonna pop out. It wasn't like that. It was just, it was so strange how like it was that close to, I would say, to landing, or I don't know, it was strange. Really was strange. And it was like, how do you say, the spacecraft itself looked like the spacecraft from a carnival. You know how they got that spacecraft there, and they got all these lights around it, and just exactly, I would say, like that, with like
So kind of like
colors.
a flying saucer as well, like the typical saucer.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, it was just like lights all going all around it, like different colors. Like it was just really, really strange to watch, and after a while, it just took off, and it was just weird, just strange, strange night like
Yeah.
that. I would say I've never seen that in my whole life. Maybe my little brother, he's my witness, and we're both seen that, and it was I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know if other people have seen it that night either, especially with all them fireworks going. You know,
Yeah. That's really
y-
cool.
y-
That's a good encounter. Lots of people would love to have an encounter like that. So,
yeah, huh, yeah,
but
so true.
we've got some people waiting. So
All
we
right.
appreciate you coming up, and hopefully you hang out with us and listen to some stories, and hopefully we get some more UFO stories here too. Usually, if we have a guest that tells a UFO story, we get into UFO talk. So we might have some if you're interested in that kind of thing. But we appreciate you, and feel free to come back another time and share some more stories with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
All right, guys, tap tap tap. We're doing pretty good. We're getting quick. Like it's been quick so far tonight. Hopefully, we
Yeah.
kind of keep that same trend.
Awesome.
I do not know who was here first. I apologize.
Hello.
Oh, are we having a
Hmm.
connection problem?
Yeah, it might be.
Lucian, I'm going to drop you and you can re request. Um, it's not wanting to connect, but we definitely love to have you, so feel free to come back. Um, let's see here. Hello, welcome.
Hey. All right, you guys can hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. I just ran into the bathroom, so I didn't wake up the wife while I was talking. I'm gonna give a quick, very short story about a time I grew up in Western Massachusetts. I don't know if you guys know Western Mass, but it's basically just like a mountain that cuts off like the Berkshires from the rest of the state. They say that there's dragons that live up there. Well, there's not only dragons, but there's aliens, cryptids, and everything else you can imagine. Um, I lived right at the base of Toccoa Mountain, which was also known as Rattlesnake Mountain. And my family and I were sitting out in the backyard. Uh, if that which part was asking, we lived on the border of Russell and Westfield, and we were sitting in the backyard. We would always go back there and hang out when the weather was nice because you could like watch all the fireflies in the field and stuff. So we were hanging out and dead silent. It was twilight, so we could just see it. There was no lights on it or anything. This triangular mass came up over the mountain, stopped dead, turned on a dime after it like came over the mountain and went right back at like a 45-degree angle from where it was. You know what I mean? Like it like went over like fully into view and then turned 45 degrees back from the direction it was coming, you know? And then just disappeared. Never saw it again. No noise, nothing. It was the creepiest shit ever. I was like maybe 6 or 7 years old. It was right after I had my brain surgery and I was like done recovering from it. It was the craziest thing. And ever since that brain surgery, I started seeing aliens. I started seeing ghosts constantly. One time I woke up from a nap with my mom and there was a full apparition floating over her, just looking down at her. And I think her and I realized it was like her grandpa after a while. But she's always been really connected with spirits too. But there's a lot of stories. I'll have to come on and I'll do segments with you guys because I've got tons of stories to tell you guys.
Well, we appreciate you and we look forward to having you back. And thank you for coming up.
Yeah, I'm glad I stumbled across you. This is gonna be fun. I'll
Yeah.
tell you guys a ton.
Alrighty.
All right, catch you
Awesome.
later. I'll stay listening because this is gonna be good.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Very cool. All right. Scissor hands. Everybody tap the screen. Get some people in here. I hope it's a UFO night.
Yeah, me too.
Hello. Welcome.
How's it going? How's everyone doing
Good. How are
tonight?
you?
Good.
Not bad. I shared a story once, not sure if you guys remember me. It was about Dudleytown, which is actually not far from the location where the last guy was telling his story. It's not far from Western Mass. So there's like a lot of weird things in those mountains. That's for sure. I have like a quick story to tell about the town Sheffield. I'm pretty sure there was a unsolved mystery episode on the UFO that was seen in the Berkshires, in Western Massachusetts. It's a really good episode, and it covers that, and it interviews the people that saw it. So I wonder if that's the same one that the last guy who was just on here, if that was the one he was talking about, because it's the same description, a huge football field sized triangular shape, flying through the sky. But anyway, I was driving through Sheffield one day and I was actually heading towards the location where that was seen, and it's called UFO Valley. And I could have swore that I saw like a saucer shaped object literally in the sky, like hanging there, like suspensed in the air, kind of crooked. And I was driving, and on that route where I was driving, it's like I'm going 45 miles an hour. So I'm looking, and there's some trees blocking, and I couldn't even believe what I was seeing. So I kind of just told myself to like pay attention to the road and keep driving. But yeah, I saw something weird in that area myself. And it's kind of strange because I was like headed towards that location. I was kind of thinking of, UFOs at the time. I was like, it was a weekend, and it was like, I'm into this stuff, and I was gonna go visit the place, and I ended up seeing that. It was very strange. But if anybody has the opportunity to visit Western Massachusetts, it's a beautiful area. But also I have a story about Dudleytown. It's not really a UFO story, but it's more like about like kind of like unexplainable things that I experienced there. One of the first times I visited was during COVID, and we had some free time on our hands. Everybody did, and I figured we'd go check this place, or I'd go check this place out. So I looked it up online, and I figured I actually scouted the place for a few months as well, and figured out like a safe way to go in because it's private property. You're not supposed to go there, and they prosecute people for going there and stuff. So I was very careful. Plus, at the time, there was a trail that was open that you were legally able to go on. It was state owned. It's called the Mohawk Trail. But ever since then, they have closed it. But anyway, I was walking on this trail, and it's very hard to get to. I had to walk up a very steep mountain. So I got there, and people say like, you don't hear any wildlife in there. I can attest to that. There are certain spots in there like where things become silent, almost like a music studio. There was this one instance where I was trying to take a picture at this famous spot called Fairy Falls, where they say like the water's poisoned with lead or mercury or something. And I slipped, and there was some water. Like I was literally like standing in the waterfall like a moron, but there was not much water flowing. It was like a little brook waterfall. Usually there's a lot of water flowing through it, like if if there's a lot of rain and stuff, but there wasn't really much rain. So I kind of, was walking on it. I probably shouldn't be walking on it. And I slipped, and I honestly felt like I was being sucked into like the floor. It was really fucking creepy. Like, it's hard to explain, but I felt like I was being sucked in through the floor. That's something else people talk about. Like they say forces, they feel like these forces push them and stuff. And I honestly feel like not only did something like wipe me off my feet kind of, but like helped me slip, because it was, there was some moss on the ground. So it's possible I could have slipped, but I did honestly feel like I was being like sucked into the ground. And my phone was on the was in the water and everything, and I was more concerned about me getting up and not even like worried about my phone and my wallet, because I honestly felt like, I don't know, I was scared and like I was being sucked into the ground. Some pretty fucked up shit. But anyway, I kept walking through the trail. And started hearing some weird shit through the trail. See, like what just happened to me there was like one of the craziest things that happened to me that I can't really explain. But then once I kept walking through the trail, I started to hear things like weird, like noises, like people whispering, talking and shit. Even like in particular, like little girls' voices. Like for some reason, people say they hear that. Now, I remember saying this in the last time I was in here, that I thought like, oh, they're probably hooking up speakers to trees, like trying to scare people because they're sick, because there are people that live like on the border of this place. So that could have been it. But, I kept hiking, and ended up hearing like this crazy shriek in the woods, which kind of sounds like a dragon, but to me it sounded like a bunch of things at one time. But it was something I couldn't explain exactly what it was. But that's when I got the hell out of there. I know there are these whistles that people have. They're called Aztec death whistles, and they like to like blow those things in the woods and stuff to scare people. Could have been one of those things. But if it wasn't, whatever it was, yeah, it was pretty scary sounding. But yeah, if anyone is interested in that subject, they should look it up. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And we actually had a story last week about one of those Aztec whistles. Those were really cool. I would love to hear one in person. I've seen them online, but I'd love to hear one in person. But we appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us. That's really cool and interesting.
No problem. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks. Oh, someone in the comments has one. Very cool. I would love to just hear that, like, in person. I think it probably doesn't do it justice to hear it online. Um,
Yeah.
do you know what those are, Chris? You
What?
ever seen them? The Aztec unalive whistle?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen those. I think
Yeah,
we
those
had
are really.
didn't we have a story about that? Or am I
Yeah,
tripping?
that's what I was just talking about. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. I stepped away for a second.
Somebody said one day I woke up and my sock was off. Did you find your sock? Where did it go? All right, guys, tap the screen. Let's get some people in here. We are off to a good start. We got some great stories going.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we are on UFO talk tonight. Let's just channel
Yeah.
and manifest some aliens because I want to hear some wild alien stories.
It
Of
seems
course, we
that.
also do paranormal, extraterrestrial, cryptid, unexplained in general, glitch in the matrix, and just stuff that scared you, whatever scared you that keeps you awake at night. That's the story we want to hear. Your spookiest spooky story. So guest box is open. Come on up, share a story with us.
Yes. And
Yes.
yeah, and guys, if we get no, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna start tonight, sir. I'm gonna drop that whole topic. I don't
Yeah.
want to get yeah. I don't want to get myself
Guys.
into a bigger hole.
Yeah, if Chris doesn't hold true to his words, you guys are gonna have to chase him down like angry villagers. Oh my
The
gosh.
the worm is on its way. It is. I ordered it. So, yeah. Somebody was asking me. But yeah, guys, but no, if you guys have a story, oh, there we go. See? There we go.
Hannah was asking in the comments,
Uh-huh.
what is the topic? The topic is we do ghost stories here. We just share paranormal stories or spooky stories in general. Just your spookiest spooky
Mhm.
story. It doesn't even have to be paranormal. That's what we want to hear. All right.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. Did you have a story for us?
Yeah. Well, I'm from Colorado, so I lived over in Colorado or in Penrose. And one night I was out there. My wife, she didn't believe in UFOs, but I've seen it. I've got a lot of stories too. But this one was really wild. I was out there with my boys, looking up and looking at there, and I'd see a little spot of light, and out of that spot of light would come a UFO. And I know it because we're really close to NORAD, right? That
Mm.
NORAD's just right down the valley. And so you could see the jets coming out of it was either Schriever Air Force Base or Peterson. It was one or the other. And they'd come out and they'd chase it. And then what it would do, they couldn't catch it, but you'd see another spot of light and it would go into it and disappear. And then we watched that for like, gosh, probably 2 hours. Where they kept going and they'd look around and then they'd take off, go ahead back towards the base, and then you see that little light again, and you'd see it come out of the light, and then you'd see them come back and they'd start chasing them, and it was just like a game to them. You know what I mean? Because then another light would, wherever the light would hit, it would hit inside of it and it would disappear. And then whenever the light would hit again, it would actually come out. But the thing it was, they were being chased by the U.S. Air Force. You know what I mean? And the Air Force couldn't keep up with them. But being that close to NORAD, you know what I mean? Because that's all the nuclear. That's where all the nuclear weapons are and all the codes and everything to do everything for a nuclear war. But
Just real
living in
quick,
that
I just want
area.
to say real quick, hang on just a second. TikTok, this is for
Yeah.
educational purposes only. We are just discussing a story and a topic. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, that was just one, and then over the last, because I'm down here. I came down to anyway. I'm in Prescott, Arizona now. But just before I left, about the last 10 days that I was there, we kept seeing these five little. There was five of them, and I don't know what they were doing. You're talking about a vortex, right? There had to be something in there because they'd come out and they'd go over the prison because that's where the federal prison is, and they would spray something because I was actually looking at them, and evidently they could see me because after the fifth day I was looking up and it came up over our house, my sister's house, and it sprayed me. It got on my glasses, and I was sick for like I had to been sick for about a week and a half. It was really, really weird stuff. But yeah, they sprayed me with something because it came right over me, and pretty wild stuff. And that wasn't too long ago. That was only about 3 weeks ago. So but they were out there every night. I'd go out there and smoke a cigarette, you know what I mean, and watch them. And they would go over and then they would disappear when they were over like where the federal prison is. There's something there because they'd be there and then they'd be gone. And then I was talking to a guy that went down to get my cigarettes downtown, and there was a guy that worked for NASA, and I was telling him, and he goes, "Yeah, I've seen them too." And I said, "Yeah, but they make no sense, you know." I said, "But whatever it was, I talked to him before. Then that couple of days later is when it went over and sprayed me. It was like, wow, man, because it got all over my glasses. When I was looking up, it came right over my sister's house. So that's pretty crazy."
Alrighty, well, we appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us,
So
and
not a
hopefully you
problem.
hang out and listen to some stories with us tonight.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, thank
Alrighty,
you.
thank you. Educational purposes only, TikTok. The views of the guests do not necessarily reflect those of the host, just for the AI bots. All right, guys. Let's see. The night is young. We've got plenty of time for plenty of wild stories tonight. We do have to watch our language a little bit. We've been getting some notifications. We got to be careful, but yeah, we're doing good. We're on a roll. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I love UFO stories, and it seems like we're having a UFO night. Let me put some
For
UFOs in.
sure. Yeah, yeah, it does seem like a UFO night. Um, let's see. What about the worry dolls? Oh, you'll have to come up and thank you. And Peggy, if you're still here, thank you for the gifts earlier. I appreciate that, and thank you to anybody I might have missed. Worry dolls. I don't know if I know what that is. Actually, I've never
Yeah,
heard of that, and it's peculiar for me to not know about a paranormal topic. You'll have to come up and tell us about that.
yeah.
Um,
You know what that reminds me of? I don't know if you've seen those dolls that older people used to have, and it's like a doll of a child like in timeout, and like they'll put him in the corner. I don't know if you've
mhm.
ever seen that. It's really creepy though. I don't know why anybody would have that, but
Yeah, those are kind of weird. I've seen a lot of weird dolls and stuff. Like, I don't know, is it like rustic decor or, oh, what do they call it? Like primitives or something? I don't know. I don't know anything about that stuff. I don't decorate.
yeah.
I'm a minimalist. I
Oh, you have
recently
one already?
tried to, no, I recently tried to decorate a little bit with like some witchy stuff, just some occult
Yeah,
things, some pictures and some plaques, and I suck at decorating. I can't do it. But yeah, I've seen people have stuff like that, and I'm just like, I don't understand, but whatever floats your tater, if it makes you happy, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, hello, Spooky. I see you down there. Haven't seen you in a while. Um,
Yeah, they're called
guest
timeout
box
dolls.
is, yeah, timeout dolls. Yeah, it makes sense. Guest box is open, guys. I know. I love the word tater. I actually I had a whole bunch of cats named Tater, not all at the same time, but when I was a teenager, I got a white Turkish Angora cat with one green eye and one blue eye from an Amish family, and I named her Tater Bug. And she got old and passed away, and one of her descendants looked just like her, so I named her Tater Bug as well. So I've had like a whole bunch of Tater Bugs. But June Bug, I have a friend, a human friend named June Bug, but no, no cats named June Bug, just Tater Bug. All right, guys, box is open. There is cat hair just flying. Just it's just like just everywhere. You ever be in Walmart, like in the bread section, and you just see cat hair just plume off of you and float through the air, and then you feel really guilty because you know that at some point someone's going to come through there, and that it's going to go right up their nose holes probably. What is a timeout doll? Somebody wants to know, Chris.
Uh, well, you can look it up on Google and see pictures of it. It's basically just like it's kind of like a little child statue type of thing, and people put it in the corner of their houses to make it look like there's a child in timeout. Don't know why. Really odd to me, but whatever floats your tater, I guess.
Whatever floats your tater, yeah. um, Sapphire, I see what you did there. That was funny. Instead of German Shepherd, German Shedder because they shed their hair uh, so incessantly. I had a German Shepherd when I was a kid, and I was oblivious to the messes that he made because I was a little kid and my mom had to deal with it.
Yes.
But I used to feed him out of the refrigerator. Like I'd just take him to the fridge and just shovel food into his mouth. And so he grew big and strong. And I love that dog. He was a great dog. Ooh, pugs. I love pugs. You know what? Every pug in the world to me is named Frank. I don't even call them pugs. I call them Franks because I just feel like that breed should be called Frank, right? Like, does anybody else feel this
Yeah.
way?
Adrian, I have told a couple stories on here before, but my name isn't Horror Chris because I'm into the paranormal. It's Horror Chris because I'm into horror movies. If that makes sense.
Yeah, so if you guys are interested in horror stuff, horror art, that's hard for me to say with my hillbilly accent. Definitely follow Chris, check out his page. And his long form content platform, we can't say the name of because, yeah. But definitely give Chris a follow.
Yes. Yeah. Or you guys can sub to the Discord and see my content on there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Lots
It
of
gets
wild and
crazy.
crazy stuff. It does,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you, Spooky.
Um, It was in Men in Black, yeah, the movie. But you know what? I think I've kind of felt like that for much longer. Like for as long as I can remember, they just all look like their name should be Frank. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. And then also, like, I know somebody, well, not personally, but I know like a internet personality who had a pug named Frank, and it's just like, of course his name's Frank. It has to be. He's a pug. Do we do movie nights? We can for sure. If anybody's interested in that, we haven't tried it yet. But yeah, I would like to do some stuff like that. Um, we have people that are interested in it. We do all kinds of stuff. We do like little video streams and stuff over there, kind of in between these streams. So we all kind
Hmm.
of get together and just talk about spooky stuff, and um, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll probably start doing my own lives about the whole horror movies and whatever. So I guess look out for that. I'm not too sure yet, but that's a good idea.
right, guys, guest box is open. Everybody tap the screen. More hearts means more people, and more people means more ghost stories. We got to get out onto the FYP so that we can attract some people with spooky stories.
Yes.
Twin, yeah, no, don't be shy or anything. Like we're just a bunch of wild and crazy paranormal enthusiasts. You know, nothing to be
Yeah.
nervous about. But I definitely understand. But if you want to come up and give it a shot, worst thing that happens is you could just leave and come back later. But entirely up to you, of course.
Yeah, we're just a bunch of nerds. Don't be shy,
We
guys.
are,
Don't be shy.
yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely are.
If you have a story, come up and tell us. We want to hear about it. Don't be shy.
Ali will do a live or whatever. See, that's the smart bargain. Notice how Ali didn't say, I'll eat a worm.
Hey, I want to give the people what they want. Do you guys want to see Ollie go live? Or do you guys want to see me eat a worm? I mean,
Don't
which is
dig
more
the hole any
exciting.
deeper.
Oh, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, but just, both. Harry says both. I agree.
Yeah, we can do both. Oh, I'm
Cat
getting
Mama
heat.
wants to know, huh?
Oh, no, I said I'm getting heat in the comments. Cat Mama,
Really?
yeah. Cat Mama, I think it's gonna have to be like it's a real worm, but it's one that's already like it's not it's unalived and it's like it has flavoring on it, but it's a real worm. Yeah, because I don't know if we can do a live one here on TikTok.
Jacob Miller, we would love to get you up here if
Yeah.
you decide that. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to be nervous about, guys. Like seriously, it's totally fine. It's I don't know, it's not that bad. I usually get like
Yeah.
pre-show jitters a little bit, and then I come on here and start rambling, and it all goes away. It's like the trick to it is if you come on and just like totally screw up everything first crack off the bat, you're fine for the rest of the stream. Just get it all out, shake the sillies out, as they say. I'll tell you one thing, guys, it gets wild in here after midnight. That's when all the traffic comes through. So, a lot of times, pretty much every time, we don't get to every single guest after midnight. So, if you do have a story that you want to share on any of these topics listed here, hop in the box, come up, tell us a story. Thank you, Brother Love, for the roses. You know what is funny is when, like, I always try to, like if we don't have a guest, because I don't like to interrupt the storyteller, but when we don't have a guest, I always try to, like, thank everybody for the gifts and stuff. But I end up saying thank you when it's like for somebody else. But it's like, you know what? It works. It still works because we appreciate it. We all appreciate it. We've got some cat activity over
Oh,
here tonight, too.
I thought that was the bird.
No, that was Scooter.
Oh,
It looks like we're going to have a cat wrestling match in the bedroom floor here, or the computer room floor. So if you hear any
yeah.
screams, don't be alarmed. They do this all the time. They're trained professionals.
Hmm.
Oh, thank you, Holly.
Yeah, I might have to use some reverse psychology here tonight.
Maybe you should just tell us one of your stories.
Yeah, I was gonna say we might have to tell our own stories here for a little bit. Oh, see, when doesn't it work, Sarah? When does it not work?
Saved by the box. Yep.
Yeah. Hello.
So I have a story. So I lived in I believe I've been up here and told this story before. I have another one to top this one off. So I lived in a house in Fort Collins, Colorado when I was like 10 years old. And I always felt paranormal activity in there. And I always seen these two human beings. They were hooked together. They were like ghosts, but they seemed like really nice ghosts. And I was in a baby. I'm going to top it off with this too. So sorry, I'm a little nervous. So I would always wake up in the middle of the night and my finger would be in the socket of a plug-in. And this really creeped me out because I wouldn't intentionally do this. I would just wake up like this. And one day I was in my basement, and it was kind of when I was 10 years old. Right now I'm 27, so it was kind of in older days for me. And I was playing my GameCube. That's when the GameCube kind of came out. And I looked to my left, and there was like a doorway because our basement was pretty big. And I seen a tall figure standing in the doorway. And it gave me the creeps so bad that I ran up the stairs and I grabbed my dad's leg, and he was like, "What's going on?" And he thought my brothers were picking on me at the time, and they weren't. And everybody was confused. And I told this to my family later on what was happening, and they were stunned. So that was a really scary story.
Uh, Chris, were you gonna? Okay, I didn't know. All right, well, yeah, Jacob, we appreciate you coming up and sharing that with us. Did you say that you'd been up here before? Because I think I remember that.
Yes, I have been up here before. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And then I
that
got
was.
another story. This is not a paranormal story. This is kind of, if you look it up, you can find it. It's called it's a murder story. So it's called the Kansas City Bakery Murder. You can look this up actually. And
Yeah, just be careful with the language, okay? Because
okay, I'm
TikTok
sorry.
has
I'm
some pretty
sorry.
strict language rules.
So my mom and I would go to that bakery every day because I lived in Kansas City. And one day we went to the bakery and they weren't open that day. We were jerking on the doors, and we knew they were open because we knew their hours. That was our bakery we went to every day in the morning. And we were going there and the doors were locked. And we went home that day, and in the evening we seen on the news that, I'm not gonna say, but something happened in the bakery, and there was something going on in there, and it was as we were jerking on the doors of the bakery that was going on. But if you just look up that Kansas City bakery murder, and you'll look this up.
Yeah,
And
I'll definitely
that
check
gives
that
me the
out.
creeps right there, just thinking about that. That's not paranormal, but that just gives me the creeps of what goes on in this real world, and it's
Yeah,
just creepy.
that is creepy. That's terrifying, actually.
It is, yeah. So thank you for letting me share my story with you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, like sometimes you're just in the wrong place at the right time or the wrong time. Depending on how, I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I guess it wouldn't really be the right time, but technically it kind of is because, like, there are a lot of times you could be, you know what I mean? I don't know. I
Mhm.
don't know what I'm talking about. I have not felt
Oh,
right all day today. Don't judge me.
oh, you're
Um,
fine. Yeah, sorry though. I was replying to a comment here, and I had my mic muted right now.
let's see. Did
Has
you say somebody
anybody?
else in the
Um,
box? No. Okay.
no.
Let's see. Let's see. All right, guys. No judgment here. It's okay. You can judge me if you want. I am off the rails tonight. I am a freight train with no brakes. I don't know.
Sarah,
See, this is
somebody
this is what
asked.
I'm talking about.
Oh, I was just gonna say somebody asked if anybody's talked about shadow beings on here. They talk about them all the time, almost every
Every
live.
night. Yeah. Yeah, we get
Yeah.
a ton of those stories. It's amazing. Um, oh, where
Yeah.
was it? Was it? I think it was the Discord. Was it
Hmm.
somewhere I saw people showing or like sharing a video or something and talking about it. But yeah, we get just about every single live. We have like some Hat Man stories and Shadow People stories. We actually had one that really kind of stands out was a shadow person with a dog, which I'd never heard of
Yeah.
anything like that before, and that was really interesting and unique. So,
Yes.
how
Yeah, guys.
often do I go live? We are live every Sunday and Monday night, but as I
Mhm.
mentioned last night, I'm thinking about doing a marathon week if I can. I don't know because it's tough. It is it's tough, guys. But I really want to do like a Sunday to Monday. Well, I guess Sunday to Sunday plus another Monday. I guess maybe that makes more sense. But I want to do a marathon week where I stream every single night for a solid week, 7 days. Um, I'm contemplating doing it this week. So I don't know. What do you think, Chris? Would you be up for it this week, or should we wait?
I'm down for it, and I mean, I have to do that whole worm fiasco anyway, so we can do it.
Yeah, let's see if we can do it this week. I don't. You've got yourself into the worm situation, and I've got myself
Yeah.
into a marathon situation.
Right. Yeah. So.
But I really want to do it. I think it'll be an interesting experiment to see just how
Mhm.
it goes. As long as you guys in the comments don't think you'll get burned out on it, because I think it's a niche topic that you might get burned out on. That's why we only do a couple nights a week.
Right.
But but yeah, let's try it. Let's try it this week, guys. Let's stream marathon all week, every single night to this week. Hopefully, we'll see how
Yeah.
far we get. 11 p.m. Eastern to 2 a.m. Eastern. Let's give it a try this week, guys. Let's see what happens.
Yes, and Spooky. Yeah, I don't even know if we can say his name on here. I would guess we could, but I just kind of want to be careful. But there's a video on YouTube of two cops going through that house, and when they get to the little girl's room, you can hear laughing, like a quick laugh in the background, and it kind of freaks the cops out, and they try to debunk it. They try to like go around and turn on all the toys that are in the room, and they can't recreate that laughing sound. So I don't know if you guys have seen that on YouTube, but definitely check it out. It's I don't know, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely spooky. We've got somebody in the box. Let's bring up Mama Bear if my button will work.
Hello.
Hello, how are y'all?
We are
Good.
good. How are you?
I am good. But I have a second sight, I guess is what you would say. I've seen a lot of things. Um I suppose it's which one y'all would want to hear, or whether all or just a couple or just
We
one.
want to we want to hear your spookiest spooky story.
Well, for me as a uh it just depends, I suppose, because like as a mom, I was pregnant. And I was 8 months pregnant with my daughter, who is Gen Alpha. Okay, I don't know if that makes any difference to y'all, but she is a highly, um, she is very vibrant. She is bright. She is, I, I don't know, I don't know, but I was pregnant with her. I walked into Walmart. Me and my husband both. We went. We went to Walmart. I went to the movie aisle, and I was looking through the movies, right? So my husband walked off, and I'm just sitting there looking through the movies, flicking through them. Y'all, hold on. I'm choking on cayenne. I drink cayenne in my water every day, so hold on. Okay. Um. So I am flicking through the movies, right? And all of a sudden, there's this guy standing right next to me. He is towering over me. Number one, I'm 8 months pregnant. Number two, my husband is nowhere. He wandered off. And I'm just standing there flicking through the movies. I look up at his face, and his face is black, completely blacked out. There's no face. And at that point, I'm drawn into a basement with a child chained. And the chain was more like a I can't remember the name of it. The biggest chain you would think of. Um Most people chain pit bulls up on them.
Yeah.
So the child was chained by the ankle, right?
Hmm.
And I'm seeing all this in my head, and I've seen a lot of things. I've experienced a lot of things, whatever you want to call that. I don't know. actually affiliate to anything. I just live my life and I do me.
Oh, just really quick before you keep going, I was just gonna say, just be careful with certain words, so we don't get in trouble. Okay.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Um, so as I come out of that state, right,
Hmm.
I can still see the dude who is, it's just a black face, right? But all of a sudden, another dude comes up, and he's a short, colored man, and like bright light surrounding him, right? I'm 8 months pregnant. Let's not forget that. He has a bassinet, he has three different things for a baby in his buggy in the electronics section, right? And he intervenes, and when he does, whatever this is that I'm looking at disappears. It's just gone. It's gone. And like he's talking to me, and he's brought peace into me, he's brought joy into me. There's no fear anymore, but I can still remember and recall what happened. So fear, yes, that's fear. But I've seen a lot of things, so it just depends on what y'all want to hear.
Have you ever seen a UFO?
Yes,
Would you mind telling us about
absolutely.
that one?
Okay, so one night, well, been more than one night, but one night, me, my husband, my brother, my sister-in-law, all eight of our kids are standing outside, right? And we're just watching these four lights, okay? And they're sitting still over the tree line. We were in Windsor, South Carolina. Um, it was basically a field until you got to the tree line. So at the tree line, it was four lights just sitting there. They weren't moving at all. All of a sudden, here they come. And they're just going over. There's no noise, no sound, no nothing. They're just going over us. Nothing. Nothing. Just pure motion. That's it. I can also tell you about me and my daughter went to Walmart one day, and because I can feel a lot of things, when we came out of Walmart, and she's 18 now, she was 17 then. When we came out of Walmart, I could feel something was off, something was not right, right? I don't know. This is not a UFO thing. This is a government thing. So I don't know if y'all like want to hear that or not. But when we came out of Walmart, I could feel something was not right. I was like, I need to get to the car. I need to get out of Aiken County right now. Right now, we got to go because something's not right. I'm not okay. And we got to the car, and because I was dizzy, I was off. I didn't feel right. Right. So where where that Walmart is, like you go around, you go down a back road, and there's a Five Guys right there to the right. Above that Five Guys, about 30 foot, was a hovering. If I had to think of it as an aircraft, and I haven't looked it up because it really didn't play in my mind that way. I see a lot of things all the time. So it was a cargo craft, gray, just sitting there. It was not moving. It was hovering. It was there was no noise, no anything, nothing. It was hovering above like Five Guys, between Five Guys and Goodwill in Aiken County, off Whiskey Road.
Yeah.
So, and yes, I should have probably caught video of it because I've always thought of that, but like it never crosses my mind when stuff like this happens. Probably should, but it doesn't because I don't live in that. I'm not that person. But God, do I wish I could have caught some of this on film. Um, it just hovered there. And like me and her got out of the car in the chiropractic office parking lot. And we were looking at it and it took off. And as soon as it took off and tipped its wings, it disappeared immediately. But if you want to hear about entities, I have those stories as well. It's up to you.
Um, I think we might have another guest here in the box. We kind of let everybody get a chance, so we'll bring the next guest up, and then if you want to come back, you're more than welcome to join again. Is it okay?
No, that's cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, we appreciate you. We're gonna go ahead and move on. Uh, and you have a good night.
You as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, guys. Um, well, we had somebody in the box. I think they're gone. I don't know what happened. If anybody has a story, feel free to come up and share it with us. It seems like we're on a UFO night.
Well, we just had somebody. Mods, did you guys kick the person that just came up?
Yeah, somebody popped up.
Guys, I want to apologize real quick. I was away from the computer when that last guest was up here. We do not platform any type of bigotry whatsoever. And we definitely do not use language like that. So in the future, those type of people get kicked immediately. That's an immediate kick. This is a space for everybody, just not people who use poor language like that. Yeah, she did say something very offensive, actually. And I apologize profusely for that I wasn't here. I had to take a pee break real quick. I've been holding it and I took off for a minute. But anyway, let's get some people in here. Let's get some stories going. Let's see.
We do have some.
Okay. All right, let's get the next person up here. Hello, welcome.
Hi guys.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, hanging in there.
Okay. I have
Got a spooky story?
a small UFO story, sighting that I saw when I was younger, with a whole bunch of my friends next door. They had a family of 6, so we would just go over there and play. And then this was before all the phones and whatnot. So we would go and sleep out on the trampoline and look out at the stars, and we'd see shooting stars and all that stuff. And then one star was getting closer and closer and closer, but then we saw different kinds of lights from the star, and it was going from green to blue to green. And then we're well, it's not an airplane or anything like that, and it's not a helicopter because it wasn't making any noise. And right when I said, what if it's a UFO, it shot straight up in the sky and took off really fast. And that was the end of the story. All I can remember. And then we ran inside after that. We're screw that, we're going inside.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I would run too.
And it was I was the only one without brothers and sisters. They had a family of 6. So it was the Brady Bunch almost. So
Very cool. Very, very cool. What do you think about that, Chris?
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. Did you have any other stories you wanted to share with us?
No, I told you my other stories that I've had with I have a near-death experience, but that one's a little too graphic. So
Yeah.
I'll say that one.
Well, we always appreciate you, and we appreciate you coming up and sharing that story with us.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm
Yeah,
getting
thank you.
less nervous though coming up. So.
Oh, you always do so good, though. We can never tell you're nervous.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so nervous. I'm like sweating. My kids are like finally going to sleep, so like I can tell it because I don't like to talk about this stuff in front of them, because they're young,
Yeah.
So I don't want
Yeah.
them to get scared. So.
Yeah, that's understandable. Well, we appreciate you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
Alrighty, guys. Do we have anybody in the box? Let's get some people up here. Let's get some UFO stories. You know what I want to hear? I want to hear about alien abduction experiment stories. I don't know why. I just
Yeah,
really
don't,
want to hear some. I feel
don't be
like we don't
nervous,
hear
guys.
many of those. We had a little spurt there for a little while where people were kind of telling us a few here and there, and those are terrifying. That really freaks me out. I think that's why I like hearing those the most, is because it's legitimately scary.
Right, yeah. Jacob, you did good when you came up,
Yeah,
so don't worry
absolutely.
about it. Yeah, guys, tap the screen. Get the likes up if you can. We'd appreciate it.
Sarah's funny. I'm hilarious. Not really, but I try.
Yeah, she's pretty funny sometimes.
I'm pretty weird all the time.
Hey, Ali, what's up?
The aliens are rude. Yeah, they are. Technically, if you think about it, it is pretty rude to just abduct somebody and take them to space.
Yeah. Ali, if you want to come up and tell us about something, you can if you want to.
Yeah, get up here and let's talk about some spooky stuff. Actually, we probably wore Ali out, bringing him up and
Yeah,
like making him.
I don't know if he has any stories left.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Twin. I appreciate that. Oh, you know what? If you're nervous, you could just come up here and just chit chat with us for a minute. And then if you feel like you want to keep going, you can. And if you don't feel like it,
Yeah.
then you can drop down and maybe come back, or. But just whatever you're comfortable with. But if you got a good story, everybody here is going to love it. So nothing to
Yeah,
be scared of.
right. Feel free to make fun of me if you want, if it makes you feel better.
Oh no, don't make fun of Chris.
I think we have.
I cannot keep my earbud in my ear hole. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not really scary, but it's just kind of weird. Um when let's see, when my son from the time my son could talk until he was about 6 years old, um okay, backstory kind of. My grandparents had went to a yard sale one time and bought an antique rocking chair, and they had it in their bedroom. Okay, back to the story. Sorry, I'm weird too. Um, so every time we went to my grandparents' house, my son would go right into my grandparents' bedroom and stand in front of the rocking chair and have like a full on story with, conversation with somebody who was in the rocking chair, but we never saw anybody. And every time he came out of my grandparents' room, we'd always ask him, "Who were you talking to?" And he'd look at us like we were crazy because we didn't see her. And he'd say, "Donna." Now, none of us knew any Donna. And my grandparents even went to where they bought the rocking chair and they didn't know who Donna was. And so we still to this day don't know who Donna is. But um years later, and well, let's see, he was 6 in about 2001, and in 2010, um, my mom came home from work. She lived in an apartment above my grandparents owned a house and they lived on the bottom floor and she lived on the top floor. And so she came home from work and she got the mail and brought it in and set it on her stairs. And then she had to go grocery shopping. So she went grocery shopping and then she came back and she went in, grabbed the mail, and went up to her apartment. And there was a card, an envelope with a card in it. It was around Christmas time. There was an envelope with a card in it sitting on her coffee table. And it wasn't there before. And this was after my grandfather had passed away. And my grandmother had dementia really bad. And there's no way she could have even gotten up the stairs. And nobody else was there. So my mom, it didn't have it didn't have a name on it or anything. And she opened it up and it was just like a card you would just, get anybody. And she opened it up and inside the card it just in printing at the bottom it just said Donna. And we still don't know where that came from either. But it was just kind of, weird. So and
Yeah, absolutely.
that's the Donna story. So we still, like kind of joke about it and stuff. Like, where's Donna? Who's Donna? Did anybody ever find out who Donna is? My son, though, he's in the Air Force, but he still doesn't want to talk about it because it creeps him out. But
Yeah,
obviously, Donna must have been pretty nice. She didn't scare
yeah,
him. And there's been
yeah,
plenty of, other grandkids that have been in the family, but none of them have ever stood at the rocking chair talking to Donna.
yeah. That is
That's
really
awesome.
strange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool story.
Well, if
Thanks.
you ever find out who Donna is, you'll have to come back and update us.
Yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to know who Donna is. But I think I saw a UFO. See, I can't say that it was definitely a UFO, but it was just really weird. Um, it wasn't too long ago. It was maybe like a month or so ago. And I was looking out the back door and I kept seeing this thing up in the sky. And it wasn't a plane, it wasn't moving really, except it would go up a little and then it would go to the right a little and then it would go back to the left a little and then it would go to the center and then it would go down a little and then to the left and then it would go to the right and it did that just those little movements for oh god at least like an hour hour and a half and then finally I just saw it like shoot out of the well I couldn't see it anymore and it was just gone and I'm like okay what was that so yeah I don't know but I do have other stories if ever I'll come up again but none of them to me are really scary they're just weird.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Sometimes paranormal stories or unexplained stories are just weird and they're not like terrifying, but they're still good. So we definitely
Yeah.
hope you'll
Yeah.
come back and share some more with us. And hopefully you'll hang out and listen to some stories with us tonight.
Oh, I definitely will. I love stories about ghosts and stuff.
Awesome.
Thank
Well, we
you.
appreciate you for coming up.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Let's see. Let's get some likes going so we can get on the out into the atmosphere of TikTok and get some people in here to tell some spooky stories.
Yes.
We have a couple people.
Oh, there.
Hello, welcome.
Hi. I'm a little nervous.
Oh,
Oh,
don't
you're
be.
fine. Yeah, don't be nervous.
So I've always kind of been sensitive to the paranormal. I don't know if I'm claircognizant or clairvoyant, but so my parents, they was a little bit odd themselves. I guess I should say they was different. And while my mom, my mom had really long hair and she wore like a headdress. I guess she was kind of like, she would say it was part of her culture and stuff. But I always feel like when I was younger, like growing up, I felt like she had like these spiritual beings around her. Like they was like from a different time. I can't really explain it, but I kind of always felt like they was there, like they was of old, if that makes sense. My first probably encounter with the paranormal or extraterrestrial, that's what I would think that they were like kind of like the Anunnaki, because she used to have like a headdress on her head and really, really long hair that would touch the ground. So I always thought that maybe she was just channeling from those beings that had like headdresses and stuff like that. So my first encounter when I was at a birthday party and I was swimming in the pool and I remember going under the water. And I wasn't a very strong swimmer either. I tried to stay in the lower end of the pool, but somehow I drifted to the deep end. And I remember going under, and there was something that wrapped around my torso and pushed me up from under the water and pushed me up and over to the ledge so I could grab onto the ledge. That was my first encounter with something that, like I said, I can't really see, but I can feel, So sorry, I'm a little nervous.
You're
Oh, you're
fine.
fine. You're doing great. You are doing great.
I've been had these kind of encounters, even though I can't, like I said, I can't see them, but I can feel them there. I remember one time I was in school in high school, and I remember one of the kids threw his Coke bottle, like he threw it at me and it's coming towards my face. There was something that blocked the Coke bottle, and it went the opposite direction. And he looked at me, the kid. Yeah, he looked at me like, what? I that was another encounter I had. And I had so many encounters where, there was another encounter where I was in a car with my mom and there was a incoming car coming and something stopped our car from hitting the other car. I don't, and I know that I'm very highly protected by beings. So I guess one of my main, because I've seen them, like I have seen them like out the corner of my eye and stuff. Like I have seen like those kind of like shadow people and stuff like that. But they're kind of different. They're all kind of different from each other. Like demons are like, they're like more lower vibrational, if that makes sense. And they're not as big as like those what do they call those? Phantoms. I've seen phantoms too before. And they're even worse than demons. So I try to like ignore the fact that I can see this stuff, or I can feel it and see it too, but I try to like ignore that. It's hard to explain really, because like I said, my parents, they kind of drew that stuff around when I was young. It was like really different, and I just kind of had that around me ever since. So but the astral trust, the ETs and stuff, like I said, yeah, they're definitely real. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you're very sensitive to this type of stuff too, for sure.
Oh yes, I'm extremely sensitive. One of my friends, her name is Marie. So her husband just recently passed away. And I was sitting at we was eating out, me and her, and I remember seeing a man sitting, like I could feel him and I could like see him, just like a quick, like like when you like I can't really explain it, but it's like I seen him there, but I didn't really actually see him. I have like a third eye, if that makes sense. So I'm picking up on him sitting there smiling at me, and I told her that, and she said, yeah, that's probably him, because he kind of, he had a strong presence, he did, before he passed away. And yeah. And I'll just tell you one more thing before I go. Sorry. So, if this makes any sense, um, my mom, before she passed away, um, so she went to the back room and I was sitting in the chair. And I remember turning to look over where she was sitting at. I saw she wasn't sitting there. And I saw a flash of another lady sitting there in her spot. And it was a younger lady with dark brown skin and really curly hair. And she was very, very, very pretty. And I told my mom this, and then we called around on my mom's side of the family, and we found out that that was her mother that had passed away. Like she passed like a couple weeks before I had seen that apparition.
Oh, wow. That is
Yeah, that was my
intense.
grandma, Ollie. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, we have a regular here, Werewolf. I don't know if Werewolf's here. I think he was here earlier, but he has some
Yeah.
similar experiences to this. You guys should, like I said, I don't know if he's still here, but if he is, you guys should chat about that because does it kind of remind you, Chris? You kind of see like
Yeah.
the correlation.
Yeah, for
Yeah, it's
sure.
very similar experiences. Really cool. And yeah, Harry, we are very sorry for your loss. We really appreciate you coming up and sharing that. And I know you were nervous, but you did fantastic. So
Thank you.
hopefully you'll come back another time and tell us some more stories and hang out with us and listen to some stories tonight.
Yeah, I love learning and listening. Um, yeah, this is really nice talking to you and to everyone in the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You have a nice night.
You too.
Thank you.
Oh, wow, I love that. She's so sweet. All right, guys, tap the screen. Get some hearts going. We need like a little W system. I've seen other streamers are like dubs in the chat. I need to do like an alien W or something so we could throw up some dubs for the guests.
For sure. Hello.
Oh my gosh, hello. I didn't know I was next. I'm sorry until I saw my name on the screen. I was typing. Sorry. Hi. Hello.
Hello,
I'm
welcome.
also nervous. This is probably like the third time that I've been in a live. So, hello. Nice to meet
Ah,
everybody. Um I don't know where exactly my experience like on the list that I see on the screen. I'm going to go with unexplained because that's how
okay.
I still feel about it today. Like I've had so many experiences, but the one that sticks with me the most, like I'm a big dreamer. Um, if that makes sense, like, my dreams are very vivid. Um, and one of them that I wanted to share that is kind of spooky, again, that's always stayed with me is when I fell asleep. I I guess woke up in my dream, conscious that I was in the dream because of how intense it was. So I was in a dark, all black room, and then all of a sudden, red lights started flashing. And as it's happening, I'm standing there. I'm like, what's going on? Still in my dream. And all of a sudden, I feel somebody behind me. And as I look, it's this tall, dark figure, and it happened so quickly to where it felt like their hands just instantly wrapped around me, and as it's all happening, all of a sudden, I'm again in the room with the flashing red lights, and I wake up in my bed, and it's like going back and forth between me in my bed and then in the room, and then me in my bed and then in the room, and then the hands are slowly coming around me. But again, it felt like a movie where it's like I'm literally like in between my bed in the room, my bed in the dream. I'm sorry. And then it's like the hands were starting to dig into me, like, and I can see it happening in my stomach, like it trying to dig into me. And then I'm waking up again in my room, and then back into me seeing the hands like trying to go. And it's like that struggle of pushing back and forth, of like me trying to push the hands out of my stomach and then still me in my bed. And it was crazy. To this day, like I still like that's the one main experience that I've always like that I will always remember. Um, Moral of the story, or the, the dream of, as soon as I became fully conscious, like through, because again, when you're dreaming, you're like there, but you're not there. So once I became fully conscious in that moment, like before the hands dug into my like ribs, I turned around, and it was like that instant of that last moment of me being in my bed and then going back into the dream of when the hands were about to dig in, where I turned around, and it was that moment of, wait, I'm in my dream. Like I'm here in my dream. And I turned around and I shoved that like dark figure off. And then I woke up, and like it was like a gasp of air, and I woke up in my bed, like not panicking, but just like, oh my God, what happened? What just happened? And that was, an unexplained experience for me of what what's going on, like something. And honestly, like that was one of the like awakening moments, like in spirituality they have like, awakening moments, that goes on. And that was a pivotal moment for me of, okay, there's something there, like there's something is going on, something. And this was like a couple of years ago. So that was really a pivotal moment for me of, there is something more here, there's something going on, there's something, you know more to what we just experience in our day to day.
Yeah, that's a wild experience.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would even handle that.
No, I'm sorry.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
yeah, like, oh yeah, it's intense
I'm
for
very
sure.
happy because again, I've had plenty of positive experiences, but that's one
Hmm.
of, like, because there's so much that goes on. There's so much in this world that goes on, but that was one of, again, like on your list, that's, like on the page, it's
Yeah,
like paranormal, extraterrestrial, and that's one of the unexplained experiences that's always stayed with me. So that's what first drew me here, to share,
yeah,
I suppose.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you so much for sharing, and I know you said you were a little nervous, but you did
No,
great.
I
So,
was. No, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. It's very welcoming.
yeah, yeah, thank you for coming up
Yeah.
and hang out with us and listen to some stories tonight. Hopefully,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Have a yodeling cat in the distance. He's going
Yes.
to sing us a little song of his people, whether we want him to or not. He's going to yodel. Maybe if Raven's still here, he can translate for me and let me know what it is that
Right.
Scooter wants this time. Because I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what it is with cats, though. At like 3 a.m., they go and they get a toy, and they stand outside your bedroom door and they just yowl incessantly.
Yeah.
Um, A figure made from clothes? I saw something one time that I was described as like it looked like a little kid wearing a quilted blanket, like a patchwork blanket. Yes, he is an orange cat. Absolutely is an orange cat. Yeah. It's funny that you knew that, but yeah, he is. Yeah, yeah, cats do that like crazy. It's, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. We'll let him sing his song. Um, you come here asking before. Yeah, the only thing that I can really relate to with that is, like I said, I saw something one time look like it had on a patchwork blanket. It was really, really unsettling, to say the least. One brain cell, yeah, for the cats, orange cats, not for, yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about. Chris, say things so that I don't.
Well, I was just gonna say that's really interesting about the clothes figure. I've never seen anything or heard anything like that before.
You do have some memes though about that particular
Yeah.
thing. I don't know if
Well,
that counts, but
that's what it kind of reminded me of. I posted a video in the Discord of I don't know, it was just like a bunch of random stuff in somebody's house, but from a certain angle, it looked just like a child, and it was really strange. So that's kind of what it reminded me of. I guess it's kind of like that whole thing where like a pile of clothes in your room looks like something scary at night. You know what I mean? But yeah. But just should we plug the Discord again?
go for it. You do
Okay.
such a good job.
No, I do not. I really
you,
don't. I have no
you do.
business talking about
You,
anything. But
you're doing
if you,
great, sweetie. Like the meme.
but if you guys want to join the Discord, you can subscribe. The subscribe button is in the bottom left corner of the screen, and you'll get to use cool emojis that Sarah makes. You'll get access to the Discord where we have a lot of fun over there. We do Discord calls and we talk about all kinds of cool stuff. We just had one a couple of days ago and it was really fun. So, I definitely think it's worth it. So, for anybody that's interested, there it is, bottom left corner of the screen. That's
Good
all I
job.
got.
Very good.
Thanks.
Excellent. Fantastic. Oh,
Yeah.
spooky. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were in the box. Holy cow. I did not know she was in there.
Hey, Spooky.
Hey.
Hi. So I had two stories. Oh, I had one, and then you guys started talking about clothes, and so it made me think of one. But the first one's kind of like lighthearted, and the second one's kind of scary. So I guess I'll start with the first one. Um, a little bit of backstory is I had two aunts, and about like 2 or 3 years before I was born, my two aunts were twins, and they got into this really bad argument, right, over a boy, I think. And my aunt said to her sister, um, I hate you. I wish you would die. And so her sister goes for a drive that night to like cool off. And unfortunately, hi, Raven. Unfortunately, she hit a light pole and passed away. That was my Aunt Mickey. And so this story was told to me by like 17 people, even though only my mom was there. So it's me and my mom, and we're driving down the road, and it's really late, and we're about to take the curve where my aunt passed away. And I'm really little, and I just start talking to somebody in the back seat. And my mom's like, who are you talking to, silly? And I said, I'm talking to Aunt Mickey. And of course, I'd never met her or knew of her existence. And my mom like breaks really hard, and she's like, who's Aunt Mickey? And I described my aunt perfectly, and I even described the dress that they buried her in. And my mom, of course, has like a mental breakdown and yanks me out of the car and calls. Oh, no, she didn't call. Well, she said she was going to call. She was going to walk to a neighbor's house and call. And she decided against it after about 15 minutes because it was cold out. She gets back in the car with me and we start driving again. And then about 10 minutes later, I'm talking again. And she said, "Now who are you talking to?" And I said, "Aunt Mickey says not to tell you because you'll cry again." So that was my kind of like lighthearted story. But then the clothes one, this one's a little bit scarier. So I was at a friend's house and they left me with some guy I didn't know. They ran down to get stuff from the gas station. And so the clothes, it reminded me of that because this guy, he was asleep and he genuinely, I promise, I don't know why, but he genuinely didn't look like a person to me. I thought it was a pile of clothes. Like I thought they left me in this house by myself, okay? And so I'm just sitting there and from this place had like a basement and then a downstairs and then an upstairs. We were in the upstairs. And from the basement, which you could tell it was the basement because it sounded different than the downstairs. From the basement, I heard sounded like little baby footsteps. And then I heard a small kid's voice and it said, "Mommy," like really sing-songy, really cute sounding, like a little kid. There are no children in this house. Like this is back, we are not old enough to be having kids, like just "Mommy." And I stand up because it freaks me out. Like it scared me so bad my adrenaline spiked. I started sweating and I got cold. And the pile of clothes next to me, who is actually a person, stands up too. And that freaked me out. And he goes, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "Yeah, I heard that." So we stop and we're frozen. Me with a complete stranger. And as soon as we start to relax a little bit, we hear it from the downstairs, like it went up the stairs. It said, "Mommy." And I can feel the cold on the back of my neck. Like I am so freaked out. My adrenaline is so high. And this dude is sweating. His eyes are bugging out of his head. And he goes, "What do we do?" And I'm like, "Shh," because I don't want it to hear him, even though it obviously probably knows that we're there already. So we're both shaking, standing there. And then from outside the hallway where the stairs are, you hear the stairs creak. It's an old house. And they don't creak heavy like a big person. They creak small. And then from the hallway, you hear it again, but it's a question now. And it says, "Mommy?" And I'm freaking out. There's no breath in my lungs. And in this room, there's a closet, right? And this closet door never shuts all the way because I don't know what was wrong with it. But the closet's dark. And the door's halfway open. And we're sitting there. I'm not even thinking about the closet. I'm watching the door to the hallway. And from the freaking closet behind the dude, there is the most urgent whisper, like, "Mommy."
Oh.
And we bolt. I bolt so fast. I am just hoping that I can outrun him. But yeah, that was the well, okay, so I left it and I came back a couple hours later after I'd calmed down, but we looked it up and the basement it's not really a basement, we found out. It was a part of the Underground Railroad and it went to what they turned it into a river, but the tunnels down there, we read a story about there was a bunch of children who had passed away down there, and that's what we assumed it was. But it was scary. It was one of the scariest ones I'd ever had.
My God, that's like something from The Conjuring or something.
It was horrifying.
Yeah, that's a really creepy one, Spooky.
Thanks, guys. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. We appreciate it.
If you have any more, come back.
I will.
All right.
All right.
Wow.
God, I'm gonna get some lash glue and put it on my earbuds. Can't keep these things in here.
That story had me kind of it made me kind of look behind me for a second there.
Yeah. Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't think I could handle that for sure. We ran into I haven't had too many little kid spooky type stories, except for at Benham Schoolhouse Inn. I think that was really the only place we ever ran into some of that type of stuff, and it's a
Yeah.
different type of unnerving for sure. But
Yeah.
all right, guys, we are. What are we? We're about halfway through the show, aren't we? I can't count
Yeah.
good.
Well, more than halfway.
I went to a school for kids who can't count good. Do you remember that movie where kids who can't read good or something like that? But for me, it's I can't count good. I always think of that when I can't count. But anyway, yeah. So we're about halfway through. We've got an open box, guest box, ready for people to come up and share their spooky stories.
Yes. Don't be nervous, guys.
Don't be scared.
We have about an hour left, so if anybody wants to
An
come
hour.
up a little
We got.
over.
Yeah, you're right. I can't count good. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah,
About
hour
an hour.
15,
Yeah.
hour 10.
Yeah. Oh,
All right.
welcome back.
Hey.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey. So I was just remembering a story my parents told me. That was really, really, it was kind of scary to me, but so my mom and dad, they had, this was like back in I want to say like the early 80s, or early 70s. Yeah, it was the early 70s, something like that, before I was born. And, my mom said that her and my dad, they was walking, I don't, I don't know, but they was walking through like a cemetery, right? And my mom said she looked up and she seen this beautiful rosary on one of these really tall statues of Mother Mary. And so my mom said to my father, she said, I would like to get that rosary off of the statue. And so my dad said, okay. So they went over there to the statue, and my mom got on my dad's shoulders because it was a really, really tall statue. And so they took the rosary off of that statue. Now, my mom told me the experiences that she went through after taking that rosary off of that particular statue. She said that she was having night terrors. She was hearing and seeing things. But she told me one night in particular that there was like a demon, and it grabbed her by the neck and started, choking her. And she was trying to reach over to my dad. But he was asleep. So when it all came to a head, my mom said that I think this was when my other sister, Venus, was like I think she was like maybe 3 or 4 years old at the time. That's my older sister. And my mom and dad, I think they was getting a ride from somewhere. And I remember my mom telling me that they got into this car, and he had just purchased the car. It was a guy, and they was in that car, and then the other woman, his wife was in the older car, and she was ahead of them, right? And he was in the new car in the back. So anyway, so they was driving down the road, and my mom said that she smelled smoke, right? And that new car, the engine in that car, I don't know what happened, but she was just telling me that it caught on fire, right? And so they pulled the car over to the curb. And the funny thing, my mom said that it just started to catch up in flames, that car. And she said that she had the rosary was in like one of her little in like her purse or her bag. And she left it in the car. And as she was trying to get out the car, my sister Venus was in the car, and my dad had to yank her out real quick. And the guy was like yelling and screaming because his new car was on fire. And that car, it like engulfed in flames. I kid you not. Like my mom, she's saying engulfed in flames, and that rosary that was in that purse in that car, it all burned. Like, so I was just remembering that. I was like, wow, because I know she had some really profound experiences. My mom did after that day. So yeah, that's the story.
Wow, that's pretty wild for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I say like I will never ever like haunted objects and stuff like that, especially if there's like attached to a certain being, like a entity or something that's really like no, like nope. And that I think that was the mistake my mom and dad both made was grabbing that rosary off of that thing with all them spirits in there looking, you know.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah.
Gotta leave stuff like that alone.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Well, very cool. Thank you for sharing that with us. We appreciate
Okay.
it.
Okay,
Yeah.
I gotta go to bed.
Alrighty. Well,
Okay.
good
Have a
night.
good night.
Thank you.
Thanks. I think I told you
All
guys
right.
about the my mom with the flowers from one of her frenemies' funeral service. The daughter, for some reason, I don't. I think this is maybe a southern thing. I don't know. But a friend gave flowers to my mom once from a funeral service for a woman that my mom was frenemies with, and then
Yeah.
all of the things in her house proceeded to break. It was almost like she had poltergeist activity, and kind of half-heartedly, jokingly, one day I was like, "Well, you should maybe get rid of that." Oh, thank you. That makes me feel so cool. I wish I could do that at Walmart. Like, just I'm walking down the bread aisle, and all of a sudden, boom, there they are. But yeah, so it's crazy to think about. Maybe something could have so much energy attached to it that it could, have an effect like that. It's pretty wild. Where am I from? I am from Sandy Hook, Kentucky. Nobody knows where that is. It's so small. You can blink and
Yeah.
miss it
We're all
for
from
sure.
Kentucky here.
Chris, you are not from Kentucky.
Well, I'm
Wait,
not from
you got to do
Kentucky,
the
but
accent. You got to do the accent.
oh no, I'm not gonna do that. Hi.
Hello.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. A little nervous. Never been on live before.
Well, I'm sure you'll do fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm gonna try my best.
Yeah. Don't be nervous, man.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, but I'm gonna be all right. So like I have a lot of stories, but I'll try and figure out what the best one I can give you guys. I'm gonna go with the last one. And so I just lost my twin brother and my mother recently in the last 7 months. So it's been really bad for me lately. And so I got cameras around my house and stuff like that. And I'm starting to notice weird things going on. And so I'm just checking my cameras and stuff like that. And I noticed my mom used to always love to take rides with me on my Camry. I have a white Camry, and I actually have it on camera. And so I'm looking at the camera because it just somebody was there in the camera, so I'm opening it and looking it up, and nobody's there. But if you look inside the video, she's sitting in the car, almost as like a ghost figure. And I thought about posting it, but like a lot of people always are a little skeptical about it. But I actually have the video, and I'm probably gonna post it tomorrow so you can see it. It'd be amazing. And it's crazy. The car sits there every day. It's nothing ever happened after that. It's just one time, and you can see a woman figure in the vehicle, and it shocks me to this day every time I look at it. But
Yeah, that's amazing.
I've always seen like ghost figures and stuff like that growing up, and I never want to talk about it. Me and my twin, and now that I seen that, it's like it's a guaranteed thing. I'm not sure why, and what, but I just know it's there. And there's people who go, "Oh no, I never seen it before," so you're never gonna believe it. I believe it 100%. I mean, I'm a little skeptical about it too when I in the past, but I've seen it when I was like 12 years old as well. You know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a
Yeah.
little nervous too. So I've never been on live.
No,
You guys are my first live, so
You're doing
no, you're,
great.
yeah.
I watch a lot of videos and like people don't believe stuff like that until it happens to them. It's happened to me many times before, and it's always been quiet. Nobody talked about it. You see something weird, but people tell you, hey, your mom's always there, and I'm saying like you got a notification that somebody's in the front door. You look at it, and there is your mom. You know how your mom looks and the shape she is,
Yeah.
and it's like a guarantee to me. And I'm actually gonna post it tomorrow, and if you guys would like to see it, I would love to show
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's kind of like
definitely. Just
go
tag
ahead
us or
there.
send us a message, or
Or I could even send it that way. I'm not really used to TikTok and stuff like that, but I like it. I would love to just share it to you guys and not to share it to the world, but if I could do that, it'd be awesome.
let's see, how would we do it? Because I don't know if you can send videos privately.
I could just post it too, and then just eventually I'll just take it off because I don't want clout for it. I don't want people to like be skeptical. I want to
Right.
hear you guys' point of view, what you guys think, though. Definitely, 'cause I see my mom 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah, for sure. Send me a message after the show or something,
Okay,
and we'll link up, and that way I can definitely check it out, and I can send it to Chris, or you can send him a message too. I'm sure.
definitely.
Um,
Yeah,
someone wants
and,
to
and
know if you can show it on the live. Deanna, I don't think it really works that way. Unfortunately, it would be cool if we could do like screen share and stuff on here, but
wish I
unfortunately
could.
we can't. Yeah. Well, we
Mm.
If I
really
can, if I
appreciate
can,
you coming up, and did you have any other stories you wanted to share?
I mean, the very first time it's ever happened to me, I had a twin brother that just recently passed away as well. But me and him both seen like entities, or I don't know, like ghosts, maybe you guys want to call it. When I was younger, my dad. So I live with my mom and my dad on the weekends, and we go to my dad's house, and my dad would go across the street, and he would go hang out with his buddies and drink beer. And he would ask us to go get a beer. So we go get a beer for him. But there's this one time that he asked us to get a beer, and me and my brother are twins, so we're always together. So we went to the house, get the beer, and there's this girl named Leslie. It was our niece. And she's sitting there in front of remember the big screen TVs that are on the floor, the big ones? She would be
Yes.
on the she was kneeled down crying. I couldn't see her face, but I knew it was her. Well, I thought it was her. She was sitting there on the ground crying. I'm like, what's wrong, Leslie? Stop, please. What can I help you with? Are you okay? And she would not look at us. She would just cry, cry, cry. So me and my brother, my twin, grabbed the beer, ran across the street. Dad, Leslie's over there crying in there, and we don't know what's wrong. Well, Leslie was on my dad's lap. And my dad was like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, there is no freaking way. We just seen it, we heard it, we knew it, and it was weird. And to this day, it gives me shivers because that was the very first time I ever seen anything like that. And I was only 12 years old. Leslie was probably like 8 or 9. And so like people don't see that stuff. I understand that. So they were like, no, there's no way. But I promise you, certain people could see things. I'd rather not see it. I'd rather not be like that, like just live my life and enjoy it. But I did see it. So I'm always watching, you know. I'm always trying to see if there's anything else. I don't see my mom, I don't see my brother, but I did see my mom on a video camera in my car. But like, you don't see her face, but you see a body there, like a person. So I believe
Yeah.
that. But I don't really see, like for many years, I don't see stuff like that. And I live in Arizona, and I did see the Arizona lights, what they call it, and all that. I seen that. I actually visualed it. But to me, I believe that was more military. I don't believe it's an entity and nothing like that. UFO, I don't
Wait,
believe that.
are you talking about the Phoenix lights?
Yes, the Phoenix Lights, I did see that.
Oh, so you were actually there when it
I lived
happened?
here.
Because we've been
I
wanting to
was
talk to somebody who saw it.
so
Oh,
so I was born in Germany when I was a baby, and I lived here most of my life here in San Diego. But most of my life I lived here in Arizona. And those lights came out when about 4 in the morning when I was going to work. And we looked up because the whole neighbor, I lived in apartments, and the whole neighbor was looking up and pointing and taking video. We didn't really have video at the time. We had like cameras, you know. There was video on it, but we were looking up and we seen it. It was definitely like weird as heck, and we didn't know what it was. We seen it. We definitely seen it, but to me, I think it was more military than anything else. To be honest, I mean, I've seen ghosts. I have another story as well. I one that really freaks me out. I kind of don't even want to talk about. That's the worst one. The worst one of them all. I will speak about it if you want to hear it, but that one's the worst one. The Phoenix Lights. I think that's definitely military, but I could be wrong because I'm just a regular person like everybody else is.
So, real quick, as far as the Phoenix lights go, do you think that that was one giant craft, or do you think that it was multiple things,
It
or?
looked like a giant craft, but I definitely think it was multiples.
Mhm.
I definitely think it was
Yeah.
multiples because when we were watching it, I didn't lose my job, but I got in big trouble because I didn't go to work, and I'm watching it the whole time, and it was sitting there like just sitting there with all these lights. It looked like I want to say what the word is. It was a V shape, and then all of a sudden one went away, one went away, one went away, and then it was on the news. You know, it was really weird. They don't show you everything that, like, the news didn't show you everything.
Yeah.
It was really weird. So I don't think it was one full unit. It was a whole bunch of them. And where it was sitting at was right over. It's called. I can't remember the name of it, but there's a big old base. It was right above it. It was hovering right above that base. It's like a army. It's not an army base, but it's like a reserve base.
Yeah. Where
And
when you looked up at it, was it like blocking out the sky behind it in any
nope, not at
places,
all.
or
All
like?
you seen was lights.
Yeah.
You didn't see nothing else but just little lights. That's it. And it was like right before the like dusk, like it was in the morning.
Hmm.
So you seen the, like, it was like a V shape.
Oh
And
wow,
I
that's
can't remember
amazing.
the exact date it was, but me and my twin, we seen it all, and we're like, "What is this?" We go out to work because we always go to work early in the morning, and all the neighbors are out there videoing. We're like, "What's going on? What are you guys looking at?" We look up and like, wow. And we sat out there for like 2 hours until it disappeared. And when it disappeared, one is like one, the next one, the next one, the next one, you know? So I don't believe it. I don't believe that was an entity. I don't believe that was spacecraft. I don't believe that, but I could be wrong. I'm just like a normal person. I'm just trying to figure this all out too. I love
Hmm.
hearing stories, and I have my own, but I'm guarantee you everything I talk about, I seen, and I will never lie. All my friends know there's no lie about it. And I got stuff to back stuff up too, you know. I wanna show this video of my mom. It's like a picture in my for my camera. So I want to show that so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
I got one more if you like. If there's anybody else who want to talk, I can always come back to because I don't really want to talk about this one. This one really bothers me a lot. I was a young
Um,
kid too when that happened. So
yeah, yeah, for sure. Go ahead and share it with us if you want, if you feel comfortable.
yeah, I'll
yeah.
be all right. So when I was like 13 years old, like I said before, I live with my mom, and on the weekends and the summer, I live with my dad. And he didn't live in the best of areas and stuff like that. Small little apartment. And we lived there. And so my dad, he got old. He got a little fat and old. So he would go lay down in his room. And he had a girlfriend. And she'd always cook for us and clean for him and stuff like that. And we go in there. We always talk to her at night. She liked to drink her like a tea, and listen to like Steve Harvey. And we go there and talk, and she would talk to us a little bit. And so we go in there and we see somebody walk in the bathroom. It was straight ahead. My dad's room was on the right. The kitchen was on the left. And we seen the lady, like a lady in a gown, like a white gown, just like my dad's girlfriend always wore, go in the bathroom. So I was like, cool, she's in the bathroom. Let's go in daddy's room. And there's a chair on there. Right when you go in his room, there's a chair. I can sit down and talk to my dad. So I sat down on the chair to talk to my dad, and his girlfriend was sitting there, and I jumped up. I said, Dad, I just seen her go in the bathroom. Please come in. There's somebody in the house. There's somebody here. And my brother's yelling at him as well because we're twins. We both seen it. My dad goes tries to go in the bathroom. The bathroom door is locked, and the handle is ice cold. It burns my dad's hand, so he kicks the door in. He kicks it in. It's like fog coming out, and nobody in there. Nobody was in there. But we seen the person. But the thing is, I also didn't. You know how people walk? They jump up and down. Like they move, they have this movement. It was floating. It wasn't, but it was dressed all the way down to the ankles. Like a gown to go to sleep in, That one
That's
right
creepy.
there, I don't like to talk about because that one scared us to did it. I'm still here. My brother just passed away, and that freaks me out every time I talk about it. And I was probably like 12 or 13 years old when I seen that. And it was really, it bothers me to this day.
Yeah, for sure. We've actually had like 3 stories tonight, I think it was, with, I always say doppelgangers. I don't know if that's what it is, but
Yeah.
yeah, we've had a bunch of stories like that tonight. So, and I've had an experience myself with seeing somebody who wasn't actually there and then, finding out later that they weren't there. So it's always incredibly strange when that happens. That's one of the strangest types of paranormal experiences, in my opinion.
Really true. Really true.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
just hope like there's certain people that never seen it, so they just listen. But it's really true. I promise. I put that on my whole entire life. I wish people would like look into it more, and I just want to know like why and where. But I guess we're never gonna get that far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't. I just want to know like why they're there, like what happened, like what's the reason, what's the cause. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Me too.
Because I'm not. If it's cool, if they're just here from some other like frequency and stuff, I'll be happy about that. I'll sit down with them, drink a beer, eat a steak with them. Just let me know why you're here, though. Kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we
But I
appreciate you so
appreciate.
much for coming up and
Thank
sharing
you.
with us, and
This is my
a
first
lot of good
live ever
stories.
been in. I hope I did it right, and
Yeah, you did
Yeah,
great.
you did
thank
great.
you guys.
Absolutely great. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. And I'll be back here on your guys' live here, watching you guys, and I love you guys' stories. So
Awesome.
Uh,
Well,
thank
thank you
you.
again for coming up, and we'll look forward to hearing from you about your video if you get it posted.
I definitely will. You'll hear it.
All
Alrighty.
right.
Thanks.
Thank you
Have a
guys.
good night. Awesome.
Yeah, isn't it so peculiar that we've had like a whole bunch of doppelganger? I mean, I call them doppelganger stories because I don't know what else to call them, but we've had a whole bunch of those
Yeah.
tonight, right?
Yes, we have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting and weird and spooky. Um, Lord have mercy. So, um, Okay.
Sorry,
All right.
guys.
We got about 50, not 15. I know it sounds like I'm saying 15. We got about 50 minutes left in
Five
the
zero.
show for tonight. 5-0. Guest box is open. If anybody wants to come up and share a story, I'm going to grab some coffee. Chris,
Yeah, go for
I
it.
think we do. If you want to check the guest box.
Yeah, I got it. Go for it. All right. And just really quick, Barbie, you're asking what's a doppelganger? That I guess you mean what's a doppelganger? That would be, it's basically like an entity that mimics somebody else. So like you might see one that looks like you or sounds like you. Really creepy. I haven't experienced one personally, but we get a lot of those stories in here. Let me try to bring up a guest here. Hello there.
Hi,
How you doing?
I'm good. Sorry, my black cat just started meowing off the walls at my back window. So, but which is so weird. But I have two. I've gone through a bit of paranormal stuff in my life, but I've
Hmm.
had two that really like stuck with me to where even thinking about it, I can still feel my skin crawl.
Yeah, yeah, definitely tell us about that.
So the first one, I was 7, so that's the display that I'm going to give now. My mom and my dad moved into a pretty nice house that was kind of like out of our budget, but it was cheap. That should have been the first warning sign for my parents. But in the backyard, there was a pool. There was a pool. It was filled with cement. And we lived there for maybe like I remember the timeline because it was my birthday. So we lived there for maybe like 4 months. And then one night I woke up and there was somebody at the end of my bed with long black hair wearing a dress. So my mom had long black hair. So I immediately sat up and I'm talking like, "Hey, what's wrong? Like, are you okay?" Not responding. And I was like, "Mom?" And she just stood up and like kind of waved her finger at me to like follow her. So I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna disagree with my mom, you know? So I
Hmm.
follow her and she goes into the backyard where the pool was. But I literally remember my dad saying, "Hey, you're not allowed outside at night. Like, do not go outside at night." So I stopped because, I mean, dad over mom word kind of for me. And they were standing over the pool yard. And I remember just staring at my mom and asking her questions like, "Hey, like, what are you doing? Like, what's going on?" And my brother got up and he was next to me now. And he was like, "Did mom come get you too?" And I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Why is she doing that?" And I was like, "I don't know. Like, I don't know. Do we go outside?" And he was all like, "I don't know. Should I go get dad?" And I was like, "Maybe." And I remember me and my brother just standing there staring at my mom for a quick second. And then my dad called us from behind and we turned around and we're staring at my dad. And my dad's like, "What's going on?" And me and my brother are like, "Well, what's going on with mom? Like, mom's acting really funny." And my dad walks up and he was like, "What are you talking about?" And we're both blatantly looking at this. And my brother's like, "Mom, she's right there." And I was like, "Yeah." And we heard our mom from behind us go, "What are you talking about?" So we turn around and we're staring at our mom and we're like, "What the hell?" And we turn back and she's just gone. And I remember us telling my dad and him freaking out. And my dad did pools for a living. So like we heard my mom and him arguing the next day and my mom was talking about like digging up the pool and like doing what they have to do. And they went outside to dig up the pool. We were all inside and I remember just a bunch of like we had cop cars pulling up. We had like just people walking through the house, going through the back and carrying out bags of like little things. And I remember my brother being like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And then we kind of listened in on our parents, and my dad was telling my mom how they found bones in the cement and that we had to leave the house for a few days so that way they could kind of lock up the house.
Oh my gosh, that's
And
crazy.
that was a real big one for me. And then my second one was we went to go stay with my grandma, and we were in the middle of nowhere. And we went to go visit her, and my mom is Mexican, so she left us with my grandma to, go hang out with my dad. And I remember my cousin waking me up in the middle of the night and taking me to the window, and like it was me, it was my cousin, and my aunt's not biological son, but he was there, and we were all staring out of my grandma's trailer, and there was just like a lady outside crying. And I remember my cousin being like, "Should we go wake up our grandma?" And I was like, "Probably." And I just remember my grandma going, looking out the window, losing her breath, and then pulling us into bed with her and like clutching down. Like she put us in the bed with her, covered her windows, all types of stuff. And like maybe like a year and a half later, my grandma sat us all down. And I don't know if anybody knows about this because it's pretty popular, but maybe not popular enough. But my grandma talked to us about La Llorona, and that's when, yeah, like we had another scare that puts chills like underneath my bones still to this day.
Where did this happen at?
I was in so I'm young. I was young. I can't tell you the exact place, but I knew I was in Mexico for sure because my mom had to take us over the border. So I knew I was in Mexico. I can't tell you
Oh
where.
wow.
Yeah, but I knew we were in Mexico because my grandma called my mom to come pick up all of the kids that were staying in the trailer because she lived like on a weird plot of land, like there was no neighbors or anything. And she called my mom the next day and had my mom come pick us all up, and I was confused. And then the next time we went out to go see her, she was still on the same plot of land, but we were no longer allowed to stay the night. And when we asked her, like, "Oh, what's going on?" That's when she talked to us and told us the tale, quote unquote, of La Llorona. And yeah,
That's amazing. I can't believe we have La Llorona story that's actually from Mexico because I mean people like to say
like
that she's
yeah, I can like still vividly, like I'm telling you, it's implanted in my head, like the crying. Like I know the crying. I know that she was like near, like my grandma lived on land, but she was parked kind of near water. I remember like seeing like her like bent over in water and like crying. And even though she was like a good, like maybe like 30 feet from us, it was like the crying was coming from like right outside her door. And I
wow.
remember her just snatching us up. I mean, like snatching, like she grabbed me by my hair, like tugged me into the room. She put us on her bed, shut the windows, like laid on top of us. I remember all of it. And like none of us were able to sleep. We literally stayed up until, we could hear like the chickens crowing. And it was something.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Sarah?
absolutely. And for anybody in the comments, I don't know if you guys want to give like maybe like a little summary of the legend and lore of
I
that
can, but I'm
entity.
not sure if it's I can, but I'm not sure if it's accurate because this is what I heard from my grandma.
Yeah, you want to
So
try and do that?
yeah, so the way my grandma explained it to us, which is why she'll call me like well, she used to, but after I had kids, she would tell me like, listen out and things like that. La Llorona was somebody who I don't know if it was because of a man or not. Like I said, I can't really remember the story much. I was young, but her kids drowned or something of that matter. And she, was devastated and, like any other mom would be. And she, I guess, drowned herself. But that's what I got. I'm not sure if that's accurate. I could be wrong. This is just the story I heard. But she lost her kids via drowning and it devastated her. And then the myth is that she walks around looking for her kids, but, takes other children mistakenly.
Right. Yeah, there's a few different versions of the story, but it basically all revolves around uh, her unaliving the kids inside of water, and then now she's kind of tormented and wandering around. And I think it's been like a cautionary tale here where I grew up. Like my grandma would always tell me, like, "Oh, La Llorona's coming to get you," which is, kind of horrifying to tell a kid, but
Yeah, my
yeah,
my aunt pulled that with us one time, and like my mom like freaked out on her, and she was like, "You can't say that. Like, you can't say that. You don't do that. It puts a target like on your kids. Don't do that. Like, never do that." And yeah, it was a big thing in our family. Like, especially from me and my cousin, we still kind of go over it because like she asked me if I am going to teach my kids the tale of La Llorona, but
yeah,
it's scary to teach your kids when you go through something. It's scary to teach your kids because I feel like the more you know and the more you acknowledge it, the better it brings, if that makes sense. So I'm always too afraid to tell my kids tales because then I feel like it's a target on their back.
right.
Girl,
Yeah, but that's
somebody put your grandma was something serious. My grandma snatched me up by my hair so fast. I have never in my life been lifted off the floor by my own dome. I will tell you that much. But my granny has strength. Like,
yeah. No, that's amazing though. We've never had a La Llorona story in here. Not
yeah,
one
those
Yeah,
are
that
it's
my
our
sounded
first one.
genuine.
yeah, those are my two big ones. Was the me and my brother still call her the woman in white because she looked when she turned around she looked like blue. It's hard to explain the blue though because it wasn't blue, but she was blue. And then La
Yeah.
Llorona always gets people, especially when people bring it up and they're like, "Oh, this tale," and I'm like, "Oh no, like I don't think it's a wise tale." Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome though.
Yeah,
it
very
was not
cool.
awesome.
Very cool story. It makes a good
Yeah,
story.
it's a cool story.
I have one more that I didn't really take to heart. If you guys want to hear it.
Yeah, real quick though, before you get into it, I see that I have Harry and Ollie in the box. Did you guys just want to come up and hang out on the panel? Because sometimes they come up and hang out with us.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not. I'll just go ahead and bring you two up because I think you just want to hang out, right? Um, Harry.
Hi guys, sorry I neglected y'all enough. I got the thing
Harry
that
may have been an accidental request. Harry, are you still with us? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, go ahead with your story now.
Okay, so I used to, in my teenage years, 13 to 17, collect glass dolls. I loved them. They were delicate and beautiful. I still have two, actually, from my collection of 37, but I had a lot. We moved into a house and there was a basement, but it was weird. It was like they built kind of like an off piece from the house that was supposed to be like a porch area, but then they made it like an indoor porch area, and that's where the basement was. And my dad used it as a room for me. And I put my glass dolls down there and everything, and it was great. Um, And then my dad bought one, and he told me that it was special, all these things. It looked like me. It was kind of weird how much it looked like me, but I put it down there. And we were never really supposed to go down in the basement because even when we were doing the house tour, there was a lock on it. But my dad would open it, obviously, for me to keep my dolls down there because it was just safer. I had dogs, I had younger siblings. It's kind of hard to keep a glass doll collection with, siblings that are like 4 or 5. And in my room, things would, move, or like a shoe would be in the middle of my room, and I'm very organized. And I would tell my dad, and he was like, no, 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 let it go. And one day I was sleeping, woke up, the lock was unlocked. So I opened it thinking my dad was down there or something, and nobody was down there. I came back up, went and told my dad. He relocked the lock, and he told me, "Oh, I'm gonna stay in your room tonight because you're bugging the shit out of me." And I'm like, "Okay." And I remember coming home from school and all of my stuff being moved into my sister's room. And I was like, "Hey, like, what's going on?" And my dad's like, "Nobody is allowed in that room, and you are moving into your sister's room." No questions. It's my dad. But every single day, my dad would go into that little room where, you know, the basement was, and he would sage the room, and he would not let me go down and get my glass dolls at all. And then one day I came home, and 4 of my glass dolls were broken on the floor. And my dad told me not to touch them, don't pick up the glass, don't move them, don't do nothing. And he would go in there daily with my 4 broken glass dolls on the floor and constantly like sage them. It was the weirdest thing for me.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that is strange.
That's weird. Did he ever tell you anything later in life?
Um, I had to go back to pick up my glass dolls because I ended up moving out as an adult. And at the time that he broke them, I maybe had like 32 left. And he only let me pick up 6 of them. And it's like he like did this thing where he would like take sage and a lighter and hold it up against the glass, and then I was able to take them. And when I asked him about it, he just told me, "Hey, like there's some spooky things that happen. I don't need spooky things to happen to you." And like my dad was a very big believer on things like that because my dad lived on certain land from when he was a kid up until he was 20 that gave him those precautions. So I'm not going to be someone who goes against anything that that man tells me to do.
Right. That's interesting. And anything happened when you took those dolls home?
My dad made me go home and sage my rooms. So I had to sage all the rooms, my living room, my bathroom, everything, and then place the dolls somewhere and then light like this patch of sage overnight. And that's what I did. And then nothing happened from then on at all. And then, yeah.
Yeah. I think it could be something is in there. Like maybe somewhere, somehow, you picked up a doll that was probably a relic, like attached. Something got attached to it.
Yeah, the doll that looked like me, I never saw again. I never saw it again. And my dad used to tell me when he first brought it home, he told me like it's weird how much it looks like you and like things like that because on my hand I have a freckle that's like on a specific part of my hand, and the doll had the same freckle on the same part of the hand. So that's why my dad bought it. Was like, "Oh, it's very close to you." After I put her inside of the basement, I have never seen that doll again at all. Not once.
That's quite interesting. Well, your dad acted fast. Like
Yeah, he
what?
ended up moving out of the house and leaving everything he owned behind. Like he moved into an RV and left everything.
Did
So,
he warn the next people?
I mean, maybe not. I'm not 100% sure. I moved out when I was 17, and by the time he moved out, he just said that it was like he was too stressed and things like that, and he told me it was just like rent and bills, even though I knew he was very much so capable. But
Hmm.
he just said he left everything behind and he didn't want anything to do with any of that house anymore.
Yeah. Interest. That's very interesting. Man, could have been worse. Y'all got lucky.
Yeah, well, he lived on the reservation. So he used to tell us about like being inside before dark and don't whistle at night. Like I know a lot. And it's his crazy stories that kind of amped it up.
Was your father Navajo?
My father is I don't like to say what my dad is because again, I look very white. So even if I'm like, "Oh, like my dad's this," everybody's like, "Oh, but you're mostly white." So like he did live on the reservation with my granddad
Oh.
from age he was 10 to he had us so maybe like 20 is when he had to move out. And even when he moved out, he made it very clear, like we had very set rules, like the girls had to be in at night, the boys, once like night fell and you saw the star come inside, nobody was allowed outside at night. We were definitely not allowed to whistle. I know the rule of if you hear somebody outside and they're asking for help or anything, just mind your own business. Like, so,
Mm. You don't have to tell me. I think I like, just guessing it in my head as to where this is. I'm imagining this place or this region, and we'll just keep it at that.
yeah. Yeah,
It's
and it's probably exactly where you're thinking too. I'm gonna be 100% honest because I ran into my uncles and they gave me more background. Because I was with we went to a bonfire one night over at my dad's new place, and my boyfriend at the time whistled while we were at a campfire, and I just remember everybody just grabbing and going inside, and everybody needs to get inside, and everybody was so mad at my boyfriend at the time, and my dad was like, "We don't whistle at night, never whistle at night," and yeah, it was a big thing. It was a big thing.
Oh, that.
Like even the three knocks on the door, like, oh, if you're in your house and you hear something creak, but it's like three times, don't get up, don't go check. Like, yeah, I grew up on rules like that.
Yeah, it seemed like that land was very active. Interesting.
I've never been, happily. I asked my dad to take us to where he grew up for a family tree, and he was just like, "No, you grew up right here." Like,
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, those were some of the best stories we've had on here ever, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
definitely.
They were terrifying for me, so I'm glad they're great for you guys.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry you went through that, but
Oh, no, it really helped with the whole mind expansion, things like that, because
yeah.
I like I said, even to this day, I could see the face of what I saw and I could hear the cries of what I saw, so I know they were real. I mean, especially with my family's reactions. So I've always been very open minded to things like this.
Yeah, but you know what? You should come up the next time we go live. I'd like to ask you more questions about that first story.
Oh my, the backyard.
Yeah, and then
Oh
also so you can tell it again for the next audience because that's a really great one.
yeah, the backyard is engraved, like my dad would say, it's engraved in my bones. It never left. It's still very much so alive and real to me. I can even tell you how the house smelled. That might be weird, but I could.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, we'll save it for next time because I don't want to get too much info out of you. Then I won't have anything to ask you.
All right. Well, awesome. Invite me to your guys' live next time.
For sure.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.
Very cool. All right, Harry and Ali, welcome.
Hey.
Hey, I was listening the entire time. I was just like busy
Yeah.
assorting crystals, moving.
I hear you in the pantry getting snacks. That's what you're doing,
Snack
huh?
time's over. Snack time's over.
No, okay.
Yeah, now you made me want to get a snack. Now I'm thinking maybe some.
I do have a quick little story though.
Yes,
All
please.
right, Harry.
This happened probably about, oh crap, probably about 10 years ago. I went outside to grab something out of the truck just randomly. It was like March or so. It was still cool outside. And I was coming back up. We got a wheelchair ramp we had for my mother-in-law. And I started walking up that, and all of a sudden I got hit with this like warm wind, and I could hear like ocean or waves breaking against the beach, and I could smell salt in the air. And it was just for a split second, then it was gone. I have no idea what it was. It's the only time it's ever happened. It only happened at one time. I don't know if that would be a glitch in the matrix or what.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. That's interesting. That sounds kind of cool, but yeah, I don't really
I mean,
know
I,
what to think of that.
I felt the warm temperatures. It was warmer than, it was March in Michigan. So
Yeah.
you could feel the warmth. I heard the waves, and I could smell the salt water. But it was, then it was gone. Just as quick it came. It was like I just walked through something, and then I don't know. It was weird.
One of the comments says it was a glimpse of your past life. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like a glitch in the Matrix to me, though, which I'm not by any means like very well versed in the glitch in the Matrix stories, but that is kind of what it seems like a little bit.
Yeah, like you accidentally clipped into California for a second or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I've never been there.
Yeah,
At least
it's
in
pretty
this
nice.
lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty strange. I don't know.
Ali, you ever heard anything like that?
Something. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it because either it could be like they're called like they're not spirit. I don't know. It's not real. I would say spirit as what we usually talk about here, but nature, our Earth is living. Um, we have messages from just by the elements at times at the most random things, like if you're in the desert but somehow like you get this cool rush of wind as if it came from the sea, and I'm talking about like Pocahontas style, like there's just something abnormal about it, but it's there and it goes away. It could be just messages from nature itself, like the elements are speaking to you. Usually this kind of stuff happens with like magic folk, usually an higher deity or so, like nature is telling you or warning you of something or trying to lead you somewhere. It could be that, or it could be just a glitch in the matrix. It could just be like maybe somebody opened a portal and you just got like the fart from the sea or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what it is. It could be that because the world has changed a lot. So if you like my Alaska story, like if you go to certain spaces and you start feeling that pulsating stuff, because that happened to me when I was very young. Now it's kind of normal, and I gotta tap into it in a meditative state. That's when I know, like, hey, I can like heal up a bit, refresh myself. Um, you would kind of like get in that meditative mode and you would probably see glimpses of the past. Some of our areas of our planet, that we live on now, were underwater. Who knows? So it could be like something, a reflex, I would say. Like a phantom limb. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's interesting, Harry. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the only time it's ever happened.
Yeah.
Very
All right.
cool. Let's see.
But that was all I had.
Okay. Did you want to hang out or do you want to drop down?
Sure, I'll hang out with you guys. I don't care.
Okay. Okay, cool. Guys,
I forgot.
hop on the guest. Sorry, what was it, Ali?
No, I forgot. I had a story and I forgot. I'm just trying to recall what it is. Mesmerized. I'm just mesmerized by these dragon pendants. Like, I'm like, holy crap. I'm so excited.
We're running out of steam, guys, but we're almost done. Let's finish off strong. What are we doing, Sarah?
Well, Ali is remembering a story that he forgot. I'm going to go pee. You hold down the fort.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. I'll take over. All right, guys. Now that it's just me, Ali, and Harry, we're gonna turn this into the Howard Stern show. No, I'm just kidding. Let me go ahead and no, go ahead, Sarah. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna bring up a guest. Let's see. Hello there.
How are we doing, guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. How about you?
Oh, can't complain. Seen you guys were live and figured I'd stop in, and everything seems really compelling so far, and I love the stories that you guys are putting out there right now.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's been a pretty good night.
Just to introduce myself, my online name is Steele. So, hi everybody. I go by 211 Paranormal on here, and consequently 211 is the numeric code for Steele, so fancy play on words. Anyway, a little about myself. I've been a paranormal investigator for probably about the last 15 plus years, and I've seen my fair share. When your last guest was talking about the crying woman and the kids, where I live, we actually had a real life scenario of a situation like that happening.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Just really quick before you move on, I just want to say, just be careful with your with the certain words you say, so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah, 10-4. No worries.
All right.
I've done radio and everything too, so yeah, my censorship is up there now. So, but yeah, I appreciate that, and yeah, I can definitely do that. But there for a long time, I considered it, a case of art imitating life, imitating art, if you will. But back in the late '90s, mid to late '90s, I was in junior high, early high school then, and we heard on the news of this woman and her kids, and I think it was her boyfriend at the time. I don't remember exactly for sure, but I guess there was a big domestic situation that happened in a trailer that was next to a motel. And before the cops could get there, the boyfriend or the husband or whatever had left. Well, the woman was so distraught, she couldn't handle the fact that he left, and she couldn't handle the fact that she had his kids. So during that time, it was bath time, and of course, as the story goes, distraught woman kills kids in bathtub, drowns herself. Well, the news report stated that she did drown her kids and then committed suicide
Real
there
quick, let
shortly
me just
after.
intervene for a second, real quick. TikTok, this is for
Yeah.
educational purposes only. This is just a story. We are
Yes.
covering a news story. Okay, proceed.
So, after it was all said and done with, about a year after that, people from the motel that was next door to the trailer in which it happened kept calling into dispatch stating that there was a domestic dispute going on and they could hear a woman screaming. Well, when given the address came up as the trailer in which it happened at. So when the cops showed up and noticed that it was a condemned site, they didn't have no choice but to write it off as a, how would you say it, a unreliable information, I guess you'd say.
Right.
The instances happened, the calls just kept coming in for like 5 years after that, until the trailer itself was actually tore down and moved and it became a vacant lot. It's one of the places that I would like to go just to see if I could get any evidence of, anything that was going on. But everybody that lives in that motel says around 3 o'clock in the morning, they can hear the sound of children screaming for their mommy, which is just, in my mind, it's chilling. It really is.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was just that story that the gal had, told earlier that just kind of sparked me of that. And I was like, hey, that sounds oddly familiar. And then I got to thinking back about it and I was like, we had an instance that was actually recorded as such. So I don't know. I mean, it could be life imitating art, imitating life. But I don't know. It just seemed completely coincidental, that those two stories from two different spots, in the country would line up almost identically to one another.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. That is pretty strange. Yeah. Yeah, no, we appreciate you sharing that with us. We have about 10 minutes left. We have one more guest in the box. We're going to go ahead and bring them up. But yeah, no, that's definitely interesting. And kind of a sad story there. But we appreciate you telling us about that.
Yeah, it's not a problem, and I've got a lot of other things going. So I mean, the next time you guys go live, if you want, just throw me an invite, and I'd be more than happy to, come back in and share everything that I've got.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can come back and tell us more.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Sir, do you want me to go ahead and...
Guys, we got about 10 minutes left in the show for the night. But remember, everybody, we're going to do something crazy this week. We are going to push all the limits. I'm going to give myself a nervous breakdown. We are going to do a marathon stream this week. We're going to stream every night, we're going to make it as far as we make it. Let's just be real. We might make it 7 days. We might not. I don't know. We'll just have to see.
Yes.
So we're usually here Sunday and Monday night, guys, but we'll be here tomorrow night as well. So even though we only have 10 minutes left in the show, if you've been here, if you got a story, if you want to come back tomorrow night, definitely join us tomorrow night. Say we have a guest, Chris? Yeah, we got Chief in the box. Let's get Chief up here. That'll be our last guest for the night.
Is that who that is? Is that Chief?
Uh-huh.
Oh man,
Hey, Chief.
Sadapi. Nitaniku, Simyam, Sapi, Niam, Scapi, Tikani. Evening. Evening, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of
long
all.
time no talk.
Yeah, good to see you guys. It's been a while.
Good to hear from you.
I've had some personal stuff going on, so I kind of took a break. Took a
Yeah.
break from all this stuff, and I need to get my life back together. But I'm doing better now, and I just wanted to see what's going on tonight. Some interesting stuff going on. I was listening to that one about her doll. You know, and all I can think is that our world is covered in holy people. Those are holy people. Some of them, just like any other, like us. Some of them are good and some of them are bad. At night, I was told it's like everybody else across the whole different tribes. Don't whistle at night because whatever you whistle for, it'll come to you, but it might not what you want. And see, they tell us this stuff, but they never say why. But for that one, it's because this world is covered in those our old people. And they're the ones that give us our medicine, our songs, our stories, our language. They're the ones that when you wake up in the morning, you say good morning. How are you? And you say thank you for another day. And that's the Creator. He's the one that looks upon us. Him and our mother and the holy people. And so we these stories. My stories are almost done because when the first thunder comes, I'll be done for the summer. Then I'll go until the first snow comes is when I'll start again. And the reason being is because those old people that we tell these stories about, they're still sleeping. They're still put away, but they'll be waking up pretty soon, and we'll be talking about them. And I don't know about you, but if somebody's talking to me and saying hey about me all the time, I'm going to get curious. And that's what these old people are. So just a lot of times when I listen to you guys and stuff, it's true. They teach you, they give you these things. What you also got to understand is why. You always got to question. I know it goes against what we taught, but we can't afford not to ask why anymore. Because back in the day, we were always immersed in this life, this holy life. But now we're not. So I'll give you a story or two tonight about our people, about my people, the Picani. They're plains, but they live right next to the mountains. So they see a lot of stuff and they hear a lot of stuff. And this one here, you're talking about them old those ones that haunt the night. They cry and they scream and they're unhappy. That's because that something happened in their life so bad that they're trapped here. And that's their anger that you hear. And Pigani, we don't use sage we use it though for only one type of cleansing. Is you roll it in a ball, you take it, you run it through your body, to your feet, and you ground that bad energy and you put it to the ground. 4 times you cover your body. Then after that 4th time, you throw it away. But that's the only time, people burn sage and all this other stuff. In our way, we don't burn it. It's just that. It's just a one-time thing for us. But anyways, I digress. So these people, they walk around this world. And some of them, they're anguish, they're hurt. But there are others that walk around and they're just not ready to go. So they stay and they live their life still on this earth. And they still interact with us. They still want to talk to us. But they can't always, because we can't hear them no more. We don't have that ability. We're not that gift, you know. And there's these so-called psychics that can hear them. Well, if they hear them, then they're more blessed than us average people. So, anyways, I digress again. So, anyways, the story is about this time where I grew up on a reservation, Picani country. And where there's this area, it's called the Seated Strip. And what it was is it was land that was we ended up giving the park system, and they were supposed to give it back to us eventually. But they gave it to them, and we just like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. And so it was something of a contentious thing. And there was a gentleman, and he's still alive, and he was at a lot of these AIM protests over the years. He was at Alcatraz, he was at Wounded Knee, he was all over. And so that what he was doing is he was protesting where he was at. What he did is he set up camp, simple camp, TVs, a couple of wall tents, food that he brought in, you know, and he brought them in, and he was this country. It was old, and it felt old. You could sit in there and you can hear these trees, and it's just like you were like if it was 100 years ago. You could still hear the birds. You could still feel that old age of that trees, of that forest, of the people that walked through there. So one night, I was being an idiot. I was just being loud and throwing stuff around and screaming and all this other stuff. I was really just being an idiot. And all of a sudden, my dad, he was never really angry or never really curt with me. By that time, he told me, "Hey, behave. Sit down. Come here. Upit. Estupid." I was like, "Oh, okay, Dad. I'm sorry." He says, "No, son, that's all right, but just come over here. Come listen. You'll hear something." And I was a nosy little kid, a young teenager. And I was just going to say, "Huh, okay, Dad, I'll come over." So I come over, and I sat down. And we were just sitting out in that sky. It was beautiful. All them stars just twinkling. And you could just feel, you just look up and that sky was just mesmerizing. And as you're sitting there and you're listening, you're just enjoying the night. It's quiet. And all of a sudden you hear this drumming. I was like, "Hey, Dad, who is that?" My dad said, "Shh, mop it, behave." And he says, "Listen." And I start listening. And you could hear this person drumming, singing this song, really powerful old medicine song. One that had not been heard for years. No one, some of these songs, you'll never hear them again. And that was that one time in my life I heard those songs. And what it was this old guy traveling, this old spirit. And he just sit out there, and he didn't have a care in the world. And he was singing. He was singing to whoever or whatever would listen to him. And you could just hear that song, and you could feel that energy coming off of those songs. And you just felt like you just had to listen. I was curious. I would want to ask questions, but I was like, "I'll wait." And you could hear him. Those songs were just powerful. You could just, and in between each song, he would just kind of sit there and he would pray. He'd do a big, powerful prayer. The old language, the old style, Blackfeet, not this new way. He would talk. You can hear him. You tell him, "Creator, help me." Or he says, Creator, I sing. And it was along them words, and I don't want to say what he was saying because that was between him and the Creator. But that song marked me. It let me know. See, they don't bother me. They don't bother me, and I'm not trying to brag or I'm not trying to say that I'm special. They just don't bother me. And to hear them every now and then like that, it really strengthens my faith in the other world. But to hear that old man, he would sit there, and with that song, and all night he sang all night long, like he never tired. Next day, woke up, thought we'd still be hearing him. After that sun broke again, he was gone. The rest of our time out there, we never heard him. So he's just coming through. He was a traveler, spirit, holy person. He just wanted to just sing. Sometimes you just gotta sit down and sing it. And that's what he did. He sat down and sung. We just happened to catch him.
Chief, we missed you. We missed your stories. It's really good for you to be back and tell us some more stories. We really appreciate you, man.
I'm glad. I go enjoy. I like telling you guys. I like it's that's what our people do. That's how we used to pass the night. We'd sit in our teepees and we all sit there and we tell stories and we'd pass. We'd drink whatever we at that time because we had tea. We didn't have coffee till later. But we'd sit there and we'd all talk and we were family, community. And these stories they were to entertain, to educate. And that one there teaches me that these people they still just want to be in the world and they want to do what they can. And these scary ones, these evil ones that you talk about, those ones they're lost. And they've been touched by something dark, and we could try to save them, but to make sure that you protect yourself before you try to help them. But if they are bothering you, make sure you have your protection. Always have your protection on you. Our people, it's a little bundle that we wrap around our neck, but I can't tell you what's in it because it's a holy item. But it's just something that we have. Some of us carry a braid of sweetgrass. We just have stuff. We have tobacco. We have bags of tobacco that we don't smoke. We don't chew it. We use it whenever we see or feel like we need that.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
tell you
Yeah, we appreciate you coming up, Chief.
One more, and then I'll let you be. It's been a while, and I this is another story that goes the other way now. That one there was for the good spirits, the good people, the ones that they're just there traveling. And this one here goes another way. This one's dark, evil, corrupt, hateful. So me and my ex, she's a Ojibwa from over in Belcourt, North Dakota. And I had moved over there to be with her because we were gonna have a baby. And we were just learning to be a couple, just like any other couple. Because you don't always know someone right away when you first get to meet them. So we were getting to know each other. And so I got to meet her family, and we were getting to know each other. And then so I was always going through, I was always just trying to get to know him. And there was a guy, his name was Joe. her younger cousin. Me and him really hit it off. We were good. He was a good kid. His mom really tried to make sure that he lived it straight and narrow. But he lived near. He had cousins. He had friends that were no good. And they were always trying to steer him away from that good life. So every now and then he would get crazy. He'd get away. He'd head out. Geez, his mom would be just upset. They'd be calling. She's looking around for him. Upset with him. And she told him. She said, "You better not be drinking. I'll throw you in jail." And she said, "You make sure you stay sober." Well, he went out. Yeah, as his mom said, he went drinking, but he didn't go home. He went to the nearest safe house, which happened to be me and my ex's house, because he knew that we were good people and we would open our doors, and we opened our door for him. We didn't want to get in the middle of it, but we did want him to freeze that night. So we opened the door and he come in. You see, just being a young idiot. He's just like, hey, how you doing? He says, whatever you do, don't tell my mom I'm here. I'm on the run. So we were complicit with him, of course. Our mom, our auntie showed up at the door. Have you see Joe? No, we haven't seen no Joe. We've been just sitting here watching TV, relaxing. So, well, if you see him, you tell him he's in trouble. I'm going to kick his ass. And he was just on the other room. We heard her. And she headed out. You could hear, she had this big truck, and it was just loud. You could just hear it pull out. He said, oh, you guys really saved me. So he said, okay, yeah. And he says, you know what? I don't want to go home. And I don't want to drink no more. I'm done for the night. So he says, can I sleep here? He says, yeah, we don't have no problem. We had a spare bed. All right, yeah, go on. Just go lay down and sleep it off, Joe. So it was late for us. I had to work in the morning, and Natalie was pregnant with our daughter. So we went to bed, turned out the lights, went to sleep. We got up. We were early wakers, so we were up with the sun. It was about 6, 7 o'clock. And got up, and geez, we walked out, and there he was, sitting on that couch in that living room, white as a ghost. Just like, and he was frightened. And he's a big, tough kid. He was a solid kid. He didn't get shaken by very much in life. And he was just scared. Looked like he was almost crying. He was that scared. And we would kind of look at, what's going on, Joe? What's going on? Was you all right? And he said, oh, no, man. I'm not all right, man. I don't know. I can't sleep at your house, man. I can't sleep in that room. I can't sleep in your house no more. I'm done. That's it. I'll go home if I have to, but I'm not going to stay here overnight. And we were kind of hurt. Well, look what. And he says, "Oh my God!" As soon as you guys went to sleep, that baby. There's a baby back there, start crying. And that baby just kept crying and crying all night long. He told us, oh my God, I just hear that baby crying. And he says, it wouldn't stop. And he says, I don't know what's wrong with this house, but I'm not going to sleep here because of that baby was just crying. And he made him breakfast, fed him. He went home. Well, we did some investigating on that house. And what had happened is that wasn't the original house, but there was something that had happened in the owner's previous house. They had a babysitter, and he was mentally challenged. And what happened is that he wasn't mentally challenged, he was emotionally challenged. There's a difference. So they had him babysitting for them. They left. Well, they get one of those kids, one of those babies, started to cry. And being that he wasn't prepared for that, he's looking for ways to put that baby, get that baby to quit crying. Well, one thing led to another, and he damaged that baby. He did bad things to that baby. To get it to, finally, they said, when they got there, and he says, "Oh, that baby's sleeping. That baby's sleeping." And what happened is he did and that kid, he was so lost, and that baby was just so mangled. And so the cops came over, arrested him. And I don't know whatever happened to after that, but they arrested him, took him to jail. And of course, the family had to take care of that baby and bury him. Well, after they buried him, that house that they were in, they start hearing dark stuff. They start hearing people walking and crying. And that baby started crying. They don't know what happened to that house, but eventually they had to move out. When they moved out, they said that as soon as they moved out, that house lit up in fire, burnt to the ground. Fire department said never seen that happen with a trailer. They said it literally burnt right to the ground. Oh, amazingly enough, there was a box of toys left over. And those people, they wanted mementos of their baby, and that's all they could get, was that box of toys. Wow. They took that box of toys with them wherever they went. And we were renting one of their houses, which happened to have them toys. And so that baby followed his toys. And that's when my cousin Joe got a taste of that baby.
That is some heavy stuff for sure. We appreciate you, Chief.
Oh.
Always appreciate you coming up and sharing stories with us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back here tomorrow night if you want to pop in and hang out with us.
I just might do that.
Oh, Sarah, you serious?
Do what, Ollie?
You're serious? You want to do the whole week marathon?
We're going to try it. We'll see how far we get, but we're going to give it a try.
That's good.
But Chief, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming up. We are at the end of the stream for the night, though. So, good night, and thank you again.
Don't forget to smudge. Don't forget to cleanse the house. Get ready for tomorrow.
Oh, I'm about to.
Alrighty, guys.
As they say in my language, get a matson. See you later.
See ya.
All right,
guys. Have a good night.
Yeah, good night, Harry and Ollie and everybody. And guys, don't forget, follow Chris, Horror Chris, if you're into horror stuff. Check out Ollie. Harry, I don't know if Harry wants people on his personal account.
I don't care.
But
I don't care.
Definitely check out my lovely co-host here, and send them some love. And don't forget to follow me as well, and also turn on post notifications so that you get notified when I go live. We're going to attempt the marathon this week. We'll see how far we make it. Hopefully we can make it 7 days. We may not, but we're going to try. I see lots of Mothman in the comments. I love it. Very awesome. The Discord, guys, if you want to join the Discord community, we have a lot of fun over there. Yeah, Sapphire, it will be 11 p.m. Eastern to 2 a.m. Eastern. So I think I covered everything. Probably not, but close enough. But thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight, and thank you so much to all the guests who came up and shared their stories with us. We really appreciate you, and you guys have a good week. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Yep. See you
Good
tomorrow
night,
night.
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Good night.
Baba Booey.